stuff, it definitely will look different.
Well, let's start things off with the quality of life stuff. First of all, we're removing the prestige track. Why is that?
So the prestige track, for clarification, is the extra bonus track after you complete the whole battle pass.
Right.
That had a couple extra rewards. They were a little bit more few and far between. It was really to challenge players. But we found out that it was actually kind of frustrating players instead.
Yeah, it was.
So really what we're doing is making the whole Battle Pass experience a little bit more compact. So that Prestige additional track is going to be gone. The Battle Pass will complete at the end of the free and premium tracks. And those tracks are going to be easier to reach now.
Yep.
Oh, really? How are they going to be easier, Tina?
We have reduced the points. So, for example, the Ruby pack had 75,000 points that you had to do to complete the whole pack, but we have reduced it by 15,000, so now it's 60,000 points in order to complete the whole
So it's coming down in how many points it's going to take. And not only that, I've got a note here as well saying there's going to be past quests that are going to be available for all players now.
For everyone, correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now, even if you're competing only in the free track, you'll have a much faster boost to progress by completing those quests, and you'll also be able to earn the recolor skin in the free track.
Fantastic. So there's going to be a free skin available in the free
volume,
track too. Not only that, when we look at it, we've also got a few other updates to some, content, I should say, in terms of a brand new season pass that's going to be coming into the game as well this year. AJ, do you want to walk me through this a little bit?
This is a whole new type of thing, and really this is a cool way to celebrate all of the gods that are launching this year. So this pack comes with a lot of things, but the main new thing it does is if you buy this pack for the rest of this year, just the Season 7 gods, as each god launches, each new god, you'll automatically unlock that god for gameplay. You'll get their recolor. You'll also get a new limited recolor that you can only acquire by buying this pass.
Oh, okay.
And you'll get their voice pack and their emotes. So for every god that comes out this year, you'll get all of that on launch day.
All you gotta do is buy a
pay
new
for this pack, you get every god in the year that ever comes out. If you don't have the god pack, you get that this way.
Right.
You also get 2 skins with them, and the recolor and a bonus recolor that can only be got through this pack, as well as you're gonna have the voice pack and the wave emotes as well. So basically everything to do with the god.
And that's just only when each god launches. If you buy our the new season pass, you also will get 1,000 gems. And then a limited Zeus skin, so a limited skin. So yeah, the recolors and the skin are limited to this pack, so you won't be able to find them anywhere else. Eternal Tormentor Zeus skin and loading screen, and that's a really cool skin. Have you seen that one, Tina?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a really badass take on a dark knight, dark fantasy theme.
Okay, well that season pass will be available for you all to pick up too. And not only that, we're going to have the new Chinese event. A new event is going to be launching alongside season 7.
Yes, there's going to be a mystery character who's like the headliner.
Very mysterious.
Very mysterious.
Especially for those of you who don't read data mining.
Yes.
So it's Mulan then, right?
I don't even know. I haven't.
It's gotta be Mulan then,
Well,
right?
you'll see the character. But the event ties the story of the whole season launch together.
Okay.
We're having at the beginning of this season, we're kind of starting a new arc in the Smite story. This is going to be tied to the new Joust map, as well as the god that will be joining the game relatively soon, and the event. And you'll get to learn a little bit about that as you participate in the event. You'll also be able to unlock some cool stuff through the event, right, Tina?
Yes, you can unlock. So there's going to be 3 bundles that are in this event, and
I mean,
basically
Mulan's
when
what
you
they
buy
data
a
mine,
bundle,
so.
you will get a coin along with it, the Imperial coin. And if you complete 3 quests along with this bundle that you purchased, it will unlock a bonus reward item. So it just encourages you to not only play, but you can also get more things with it.
It's kind of like the events we've done previously, where you can play in the event, do some quests in the event, and then there's a bonus if you complete the whole event.
Similar structure. Everyone can play the quests and earn some free items. There is the if you've purchased the bundles, you can earn special items at different intervals throughout the quests. And if you buy all the bundles, you get the special Tier 4 limited or unlimited skin, which I don't think we're showing in this update yet because it'll be launched in a future update, but it's really cool.
But it is really cool, yeah.
Okay, so that's a bit about the new Chinese event that'll be available. But I think that's it for talking about, stuff coming to the game in that sense. You guys at home definitely want to see new maps and stuff, so let's have a look at that Joust map.
I haven't seen this yet. I have not seen this yet.
There's a little look
Oh,
at
that's the map
itself, but we'll go in game soon enough to have a little look through. Joining me on the set, though, as you can see, I've moved chairs magically over the course of that. AJ's still here, but now we're joined as well by Louisa and Matt. Louisa is the environment artist, and Matt, one of the new level designers as well. Welcome to the show, Matt, for your first time.
Thank you.
So let's go through a few things about this. AJ, lore of this map. What's
Thank you.
been the focus?
That was the end of it.
So our maps are always telling the story of what's going on in the Smite universe. Smite's not really a story game, so we use the map and the world to express the types of things that are happening and the god launches. So in this sense of this map, Yggdrasil, the world tree, was damaged by Persephone at the end of last year. And now some interesting things are happening throughout the world. The first one we're going to be visiting is China, where the Joust map is set, where their sacred and powerful jade, normally a stone of healing and helpfulness, is turning corrupt and turning things evil and turning against them quite literally. So living things in the world that are touching the jade become afflicted by this otherworldly disease, and that's causing the nature and the forest to turn dark, and it's also bringing to life these kind of clay soldier enemies afflicted with jade who are sieging into the neighboring villages.
We'll go into games shortly to have a little look. Louisa, I want to talk to you a bit about the environment here as well, because with the order and chaos side, it looks a little bit different than what we've seen previously.
Yes,
What is
so
up with the
our main
audio,
idea
bro?
that we had for the new Joust, we really wanted to take what we have currently in Joust, the order side being natural and the chaos side being architectural. And we wanted to flip them on their alignments. So now the chaos side is the natural side where this unstoppable force of corrupted jade is like bursting from the ground. And the last bastion that's holding back this corruption from spreading further into China is now the architectural order side.
That's awesome. So it kind of switched around where chaos was kind of in one way and order the other. Now it's kind of reversed a little bit.
Yeah.
That's kind of awesome. On top of that as well, Matt, just coming to you real quick, obviously, the design of the map, there's been a lot of talk about that and trying to make sure this like changes things but keeps some of its originality. Where were some of the struggles with what was the biggest, challenges for you there?
I guess the biggest challenge was, fitting everything into this small of a map, basically. I mean, we want to keep it Joust, but we want to augment it a little bit, bust up the meta a little bit, make assassins a little bit more viable. And we did that by adding some new camps and some new paths to kind of help you get around the map and navigate so you don't feel so closed in and forced to turtle. We really wanted to encourage aggressive play.
Awesome, and with that as well, the new jungle monsters and minions, you mentioned this a little bit, AJ, to do with some of the changes here. The Chaos minions are going to be a little bit different this time.
So the Chaos minions are a completely new character to this map, and they are the clay soldiers afflicted with the cursed jade, and they will be the ones coming from that natural source that Louisa mentioned. They'll be charging towards the city. So those are your Chaos minions, and you'll have your defenders, kind of city defenders, as the order minions. We also have a new jungle camp, which is pretty cool.
What, we do?
Yeah, we have the yellow buff.
Is that a new camp? It's just, it's for
New
Joust,
to Joust.
yeah.
Okay, well,
Clear
classic
it up.
Joust had one.
There we go, see?
Right, okay, my
It's been
bad.
there before.
I played so much classic Joust when it was live
Bro, I
the
just
other
want
week.
conquest
So,
changes.
we can have the
And we
little
have
look.
these are guarded by a new character.
Looks cool.
So we've added the speed buff. Sorry, it is yellow, but it's the speed buff, right? We all call it the
Yeah.
speed buff, even though it's yellow.
It is speed buff.
This is now on the Joust map. As Matt mentioned, we added more camps and more paths, and you can see here's a new character. It's a tree folk demon nature spirit type of character.
Okay, so like Sylvanas' weird cousin. No, I'm not just about Grover's weird cousin. Something like that, right?
Yeah, Grover's beefed up warrior real cousin. Look at this guy.
Okay, yeah, it looks quite dangerous as well. Nice little new camp there as well. So this is a little bit look at the map now. We can go in a little bit more detail now with Matt and with Louisa too, because you can see what we were just
Bro, the
talking about there,
fog on
Louisa,
this
regarding
map looks
the sort of
nuts.
style. You see all the cherry
the fuck?
blossoms on the
Look
other
at how
side,
dark
trying to,
their fog
do a
is.
little bit.
Right, we really wanted the players as they're playing throughout this map that when they're transitioning from one side to the other, that they have different sensations as they're feeling. The order side, we want them to feel peaceful and
Bro, this
protected,
audio
and the
is
chaos
so
side, we want them
fucked,
to
bro.
feel a little bit on edge and anxious.
Yeah, just a little bit worried about you're in a dangerous sort of area. Things shouldn't necessarily be good.
Is it just me, or is the
See as you
fog
cross to the chaos side, you can see that corrupted jade.
closer than on Conquest?
we really
you
wanted
can't
aggressive
see anywhere
colors on
near
the
as far
chaos
as this
side.
map.
And pretty serene, peaceful colors.
But
for
you
the
can't
order.
see shit.
It really shows that too. Matt, obviously, talk about this in more detail. You mentioned the sides about we're trying to expand it a little bit, make more of a jungle this time round. Was it tricky to try and make sure everything kind of felt the same but had some differences to it to make it more, fleshed out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
this
all
dog-
comes down to the
this
spacing
dog,
of
I can't even
things.
think
We
this
want to
fog
keep
is crazy.
players together because Joust is very much emphasizes team-based gameplay.
It's a
team
fucking
plays. We want to keep
gigantic
players
map
together.
for
We want the jungle to be kind of
1v1s
spacious
and
and open. We
3v3s.
have lots of paths so you can, pull off some cool plays because that's a big part of Joust. So keeping camps open and accessible and
Cool
close to
play.
lane, so you can develop a rhythm of
God.
grabbing a wave, going to a camp, getting a wave, back and forth, and that kind of thing.
Awesome. I love the center of this map as well. It looks quite open. Like you can see through the walls almost and see what's going on the other side. On top of that, now we are headed over towards the Bull Demon King here as well. The Demon King.
Now we'll just be calling him the Demon King.
He's just
He's
gonna
not a
call the
bull
Demon
anymore.
Well, he's not, is he?
Now the leader of the nature spirit.
Grove is
What are they
bad.
doing with audio, bro? This doesn't make
To
sense.
describe the
Yeah.
themes of turning the sides against each other, we have this theme of kind of corrupted nature.
Yeah.
So here, the kind of neutral, we were brainstorming what would be the neutral camp. What would be not really in the human side, but not really in the evil side.
They made it
so
harder
we
to
have
kill,
these nature
I guess?
spirits that are kind of caught in the middle between this
Kind of.
new God-created disaster and the humans trying to survive it.
Is that like a portal that kind of like made this guy appear? Is kind of what that's representing there, that portal in the background you can see?
Oh, yeah,
It looks
that's
really
where-
cool, like it's kind of come through the portal, all the evils starting to stretch out. And I love the leaves on the ground to make it feel like, you're under a tree almost.
Oh yeah.
I want to know what kind of
Really nice.
microphones they're using right now because these
So the
mics
Demon
are
King is
fucking
the
shit.
lead of the nature demons. The powerful tree folk will happily crush any gods who attempt to challenge him. Interesting.
Of course.
So the primary goals here was, AJ, from your point of view, the primary goals of this map were to, give it a bit more of a jungle and try and solve some of the problems we've seen in the map previously.
Right. So as Matt mentioned, Joust is known for its high-tier combat, right? In Joust, you're focusing on executing your abilities and attacking and fighting. It has less of this rotation and splitting experience. That's generally not what people value in the Joust map. That's
High-tier
something you'd get to experience more on Conquest.
combat?
So a lot of the design
Joust?
changes the design team has made, and Matt led the team on the design changes for
You talking about
this
Smite
map,
game?
were to
Hello?
create more jungle, but to create it in a way that still facilitates
What?
pretty constant combat. So one of the main things we did was add more camps. That's one thing. Previously, there was only a few things to fight over. It made it feel like you were really delayed between having these neutral contests, and that's what creates more fighting a lot of times. Then we also really designed them so that they weren't too far away ever from the lane. We don't want players to have to really roam long periods of time. It's one of the major downsides of classic Joust. As much as we love that map, and the nostalgia is great, and there is some
Trolling.
fun gameplay to it, it has these really long linear paths that require
Fuck you,
you to
Corey.
run
The yellow buff doesn't have as
forever
big a 5
to
head
get
as
to
me,
certain
bitch.
camps, and that
I
just doesn't
have the
fit
biggest.
with our current goals for Joust. So really, we learned a lot of lessons from the old map and the current map to bring together what we think is really the culmination of all of the best pieces from Joust's history.
Louisa, what do you think is the best part of this map for your point of view? What was the big thing that stands out for
I
you?
really enjoyed working on the red buff camp because it has a very theatrical feel to it. It kind of feels like the monsters
is
are jumping
huge. It
down
feels
from
like it's
this
meant for
platform,
more
ready
people.
to fight you. And with the building behind, it's like,
what
well,
the
there
fuck
might be
was
more
this?
coming up. So I really do like a little bit like that was a storytelling.
And Matt, for you, what are you most proud of, or what happened here? Or what was your best part of this map?
Best part, I guess, is just feeling like you have more agency. Like when you're behind, you can grab speed now, or you can kind of use the flanking pass, the slip pass, and grab some XP right here. Or,
Bro, you're gonna get invaded
I like the
all
new
over this
DK
map the whole time
Demon
if you
King
fall
area,
behind.
excuse me.
Even
Because
if
now
it's bigger, it doesn't matter.
You can't really
You just
get
proxy
trapped
the
in
waves.
there. There's
Yeah.
an extra
space.
path. Yeah.
There's some really cool new geometry choices here, specifically around this experience camp here that has this little split between two big rocks. And we also have some really interesting choices around the red buff. You can now see through the window, so you can actually contest that, and there's less paths there too, so you have a better idea of where your opponents are when you're contesting it. Really, so even though we can't show all the changes because a lot of them are numerical, right? There's a lot of changes here, so experience and everything has been adjusted a lot. So as we mentioned, the patch notes are posted live.
Bro,
Please
if
go
you could
check
walk
those
up
as
those
we're going
ramps.
through. You can see more details on it. But we also, Matt did a lot of work to adjust the economy of Joust to prevent people from wildly snowballing their leads so effectively.
Awesome.
So everyone knows in current Joust, you win red, you almost win the game. If you effectively clear the wave, clear the red, clear the second wave, push them out and steal a blue, you can end the game. This map is a lot harder to do that. Even if you do that, you're not going to be as ahead as you are now. So there's a lot of other changes like that, and the environment is completely new, and every asset has been updated too. So although we only kind of looked really closely at some of the new characters, those tigers have completely new, updated, better quality textures. Same with the turtles, same with both titans, all the towers, everything. And I want you to get in there and look in the map and
We could spend
go.
there all day there, I think. There's a lot of stuff
There's
in that new Joust
huge
map.
stuff.
A lot of people will be going through it as well. It'll be available on the PTS for you all to test. But unfortunately, I can't spend that much time because we've got more show to do.
Why can't we just talk about Just?
Listen, no,
right,
we've been trying
fine.
to do this
All
for
right, fine.
years, and it's not the right time. Joining us, though, on the set now, after Matt and Louisa have left us, thank you for their presence, is the one and only Pompon and Clumsy for the mega balance section of balance sections, because it takes 3
Where
devs
are the
to break this
microphones?
down with me this week.
Conquest. Conquest changes. It's a lot.
It is 20 pages, just so you know.
All right, so
as a
Joust
whole
is pretty
show.
hype for sure.
What are they
but
using for their
Conquest,
microphones?
the competitive changes for this year.
Let's start off then. What are the goals for season 7 in terms of Conquest, boys? What's been the focus point here?
Invade meta.
Yeah.
Invade meta has been the key thing that has.
Oh,
been
they have
defining pro
clip-on
level play.
mics.
People have been developing strategies trying to optimize and counter it, but we've just seen it be a continually dominant thing. And we also saw it trickle down into more of the higher level ranked and even some casual games. So we wanted to give players not only the tools to counter the invade meta, but also make changes to discourage the invade meta.
This has been a thing, though, boys, that we've had for years. Like every year, it's always culminated in an invade meta. It's not an easy problem to solve, really, is it?
No.
No, and one key point to make there is that when we were addressing this issue, we were trying to look into changes that still kept the flexibility of Smite.
Yeah.
So there was some popular suggestions, I guess I might say, from the community involving very hard locked rules preventing people from doing things. That is not at all the direction we want to go. So instead we implemented some new pathing in the jungle, new timing in the jungle to give the home team players a little bit more of an advantage, as well as introducing some new items.
Yeah.
So invading, certainly still possible in Season 7, but should be more difficult, more risky, and so it's still possible, but it will be considerably harder to pull off.
Now, the invade meta is definitely the one that everyone focuses on first, but there's been a couple of things about jungle and mid and how impactful they feel. Same with the duo link. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think
too?
one of the main knockoff effects of the invade meta no longer being there, hopefully, is that there's going to be more of a traditional duo lane again.
Right.
I think from what we've seen in Conquest most recently, especially in the Pro League, is that where does the support go? They're the ones actually invading. It's not the other jungler invading as we might have seen before. And now that there's no longer a support in the duo lane, these hunters, or sometimes not hunters as well, are kind of having this 1v1. They're getting a pretty big lead, and I know a lot of people, when it comes down to the casual levels, they don't even know whether they should be in the dual lane anymore, or whether they need to be following in on this invade strategy, and it just leads to a lot of confusion. So with the invade meta being lessened or gone, we're going to see that traditional dual lane back, and there's going to be a lot more interesting plays there.
And some of the stuff we've actually already spoken about and been released already over the last week or two
Right.
will have given you an idea of what we're going to go through here today. Other thing I really want to touch
Invade
on
first
goals
game,
was the
season
solo
7.
lane. We had a couple of issues where people were just saying, you just can't die there.
Yeah, you have Health Chalice, you have Health Potion, you have Warrior's Blessing, and then you have Gladiator Shield that pops up, and then you often have sustained characters that can use blue buff and the totem mana regen to then just fight each other.
when you say it like
If
that.
you've ever seen Chalk v Chalk is like the example of this, where like you just kind of assume that lane's like, yeah, they're gonna clear and they're gonna stare at each other.
I mean, but you say Chak, and then you're like, well, I
Yeah, I
don't know.
mean-
Like,
Well, we
don't
want
see
to
too
make the
much
solo laner require a little bit more resource management,
Okay.
as well as executing your combat well. So.
Well, we'll move on to some of the stuff that we're going to have on the show today then. First of all, new camp spawns. You mentioned this a moment ago.
This is a big one.
To do with some of the changes in the jungle at the start of the year. We're going to be adjusting the initial jungle camp spawn delays. Speed is now going to be spawning at 20 seconds alongside Void, which is the purple buff, I believe.
Right.
Will also be spawning at 20 seconds. But every other camp in the jungle, barring the mid harpies, by the way, and I'm talking about red buff, blue buff, and back harpies are all going to be spawning at 30 seconds.
Double checking on the mid harpies as well. They might be spawning at 32.
Oh, they may as well. It's just 35 here, but you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
we're in PTS for a reason. This is what
Mid
it's all
Harpies
about.
30, it does on our official patch notes here.
Yeah.
To have both.
And so that, there's really two different
I
times.
don't get the official ones. I get these dummy ones. Please. Isaiah keeps robbing me all
Hey,
the time.
so this is really impactful in two ways. Mostly the Void, purple, now spawning the same as Speed.
Yeah.
What this does is spread teams out in the early game. So that Speed buff was spawning early to give the junglers a head start in the jungle, but that also made there really only one possible objective to invade.
Sure.
Now that there's more that'll be spread out, there'll be two different targets, that will cause teams to spread out a little bit more. It means that if there is an invade meta introduced, people might be switching around more, people might be focusing one buff or the other depending on the team comp. We'll see some more interesting gameplay. It's also, everything is spawning even a little earlier than it was before, so although it's earlier with the purple is earlier with Speed, now both are even earlier, giving everyone a little bit more time to clear the camps before
What
reaching
happens if the
wave.
jungler starts
We were
purple,
seeing some weird cases
and
where
then
certain
yanks,
jungle combinations
and then
just could
invades the
not
other
make
team's
it
purple?
from yellow to
Right,
mid
exactly.
without missing one minion, and that would
one
make you
minion
miss level
matters.
2, and then you would oftentimes lose your lane pressure, lose your red buff. Yeah, it was bad. So that's going to be
And
a
the
little
mid
smoothed
starts
out a lot
speed.
now too.
And we'll move on then to the jungle buff changes as well, because obviously with the camp changing,
With a
some of these are
hog.
going to be changing in terms of what they give you. The mana blue buff is going to have a bit of a change here. We're removing the flat 20 MP5 increase, and it's now going to have a 2 MP5 per 10% of missing mana instead. So this is going to be like, you want to manage your mana better now.
Yeah, we were talking about resource management. That's something we want to encourage in the Soul Lane is smart resource management. This will encourage you to be aggressive with your mana and know that you will get it back for being lower. So rather than sitting on your high amount of health pool just constantly regenerating, you are encouraged to use your mana pool, but be careful when you start getting the lower ends because you might run out of mana at key moments. So much more in favor of watching different skill levels express how they want to use their abilities in lane.
So blue might become a little bit more of an interesting point of contention because you want that region anyway, but also it's not going to give you as much. You're still going to have the cooldown though, I guess?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure on that because sometimes they don't always say. Red buff is the next one on this list. It says we're removing the 5% power bonus versus enemy gods. It still gives power, this buff, correct? But it's going to be just toned down a bit.
All its other effects are remaining, just a little nerf. This buff is already very impactful, very highly sought after at all points in the game.
Yeah.
We just felt like a little bit of a downward tuning would be great to make sure that people could more evenly focus on all of the jungle camps as opposed to really focusing on red.
Okay, and then we're moving on to red. From red, we'll go to speed, yellow, or orange, whichever one you want to call
yellow.
it. I don't really care. It's speed buff. That's just the way
Butter.
it is.
Butter. The butter
I
buff.
thought it was
butter
close with
buff?
what I said earlier on, but
It becomes slippery, you know.
with the yellow buff, we're going to be adding 10% crowd control reduction. Why?
I mean, just similar like we were talking about the red buff, right, which need a little bit of toning down. The speed buff has had a lot of different changes in this last couple of seasons. You know, it's lost a lot of movement speed, and we didn't want to just buff that constantly. We did add that new mechanic so that, you know, the more camps you kill, you get that stacking movement speed as well. But I think if we gave it a little bit more movement speed, we just kept playing with that number, we keep riding this fine line of junglers becoming, you know, a little bit too fast, especially with Blink, or a little bit too slow. We wanted to add something tertiary that would help them as well, but not give them a direct like power increase. Like, you know, we didn't want to give them extra life steal or anything like that. We found out that CCR was probably a pretty good stat to give them more well-rounded buff.
It's pretty effective, I guess, on a jungler as well, having a little bit of CCR.
Yeah, if you're going to go gank someone and they freeze to peel, you have a little bit quicker time getting out of that to try and jump back on the target.
Okay, that's speed buff. We'll move on to purple next, and that's void buff, is also written down. We've removed 2 protection reduction per enemy god within the aura radius. And we've also removed 5% of the additional protections reduction. Yes, that's what this buff did. No one knew it.
Did a lot of things.
Nobody really cared about it
The
for some unknown
ramping
reason.
increased the more enemies around you, and it had percent and flat. So we're moving those 2 factors. It just has flat reduction now.
Right, but it also has been added to have 10% attack speed.
Yes. This is an exciting change.
Well,
This
it's
is
not a
something-
support buff anymore, is it?
Well, you
It's
know,
been stolen by the hunters again.
this could still be good on supports, although hunters will probably pick it up more often.
Yes, they will.
It still does the physical, the protection reductions as well. It's got a split of both now.
Nah, they don't want to
Good,
take
so
meta.
the
They
Hunters
didn't
get
know
a
what to
buff,
give
And
speed.
Sylvanas
That's
too.
the only stat they can give that wasn't
That's a good
broken.
point. Sylvanas
It'll be
can
good
clear
for
this.
late game
Ah!
jungler.
Yeah, see?
Now we're going to fight
And
with the
it'll be
hunter over,
useful
but I'm
early, it'll
so
keep you
far,
from
it's like a
dying.
clear quick
Yeah,
game.
exactly.
It will keep you
See how
from
that
dying a
looks.
couple
It's a
times
purple
off
buff.
CC.
That's all the camp changes, so to speak, in terms of what the buffs are going to be doing. We'll move on to some jungle camp additions. And this is one that was spoken about a little bit. I want to go in a bit more detail here, guys.
Yeah, this is the new objective for the season.
The Jungle Shrine. This is a new addition to the game that's going to, give you your team more gold, basically.
You auto
Yeah,
attack
so
it,
similar
and it
to
gives you
the
gold.
totem in Soul Lane, it was a feels good thing where you were able to control this objective, and for controlling it, you gave your team a morale boost, you helped your team out. For junglers, it's a very similar thing. As your team is clearing the jungle, as you're being effective at clearing the jungle, you get to kill these Jungle Shrine like gold chalices that will give global gold to your entire team. And that just lets the jungler not only have impact on his team and feel like he's contributing to the team overall, but also it rewards the high farm types of junglers. If you're focusing on killing camps over maybe ganking, you're a little bit more rewarded than someone who chose to gank instead.
So if you're like a scaling jungler that's good in the late game, you might just want to be farming through that early mid period, and you can help out your team this way. Is it only junglers that kill camp sick help to reward this?
No, it's any
It's
minion
anyone.
on your side of the jungle that dies.
Any minions that down your side of the jungle that your team killed
Exactly.
will add to this gold pile.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's look through this. The shrine gains a stack for every 3 jungle camp monsters your team kills, up to 7 stacks, and the attacking the shrine consumes 1 stack and rewards each player on your team with 5 gold. 3 basic attacks will clear the shrine of all stacks, and each team's shrine cannot be attacked by the enemy players. Why not? Why, huh? Why can't I go and rob the bank? What's wrong with that, boys?
It'd be a pretty large swing to rob the bank.
I think it would be
Mid-season.
counterproductive to hurting the invade meta to add a major feature to invade at the same time. So this is what the shrine looks like. With I believe it has 1 stack right now. As you can see that little gold goblet there. Boom, and you can break it, and you'll give gold for everybody.
And that would just go to the whole team. You don't just shoot.
It's like 5
And as you
gold
kill
each,
camps,
right?
you'll actually see that shrine
Oh, look at
populate
Odin's
with
alt
more
color.
of those gold goblets to symbolize the number of stacks in the shrine.
Is there anyone could walk up on that new team and hit those goblets too, right?
Yes.
What the fuck is this
Pretty
active?
important there because if the jungle is preoccupied in
What
different
active
lane
is
against
that?
ganking, the mid laner, even the soul lane, can just drop by there quickly and give those 3 basic attacks to collect it.
Yeah, that's a convenient location because often the mid laner, if they see the jungle maybe is ganking dual lane, they'll go farm those back harpies.
Oh, the
to
new
clear
ward,
up, and
okay.
then they can help clear that at that time.
No, it says 7 stacks on
Looks
this
like a
as well,
spear.
so bring that up. That means it's after a certain point, you can't keep collecting and then
Correct.
do a big burst of
Yeah.
gold at a certain point.
When the
right?
bank is full, you gotta go clear it out to keep maximizing it. So you want to, and you'll actually be able to see there will be a mini map indicator on the map that will show you as it will fill up. So as opposed to a normal jungle camp that's either there or gone or shows a wheel timer, it won't look like that. It'll instead look like an icon that's always there, and it will fill up more like a structure icon would to show you how full it is.
So it said 3 jungle camp monsters your team kills will do it, right? So 3 for 1 goblet.
Right.
Yeah.
In the enemy side, if you invade, what happens there?
I believe that they don't get anything for it. I don't quite remember.
We were playtesting with different versions where either, with the invade stuff
Yeah.
again that we're talking about, it may feel kind of punishing if they got full benefit and they got the shrine effects.
Yeah.
But I believe we ended up on taking the enemy jungle side would contribute half the rate of your jungle shrine.
Yeah, I do have that written here. I think actually clearing
Yep, there you
cows in
go.
enemy jungle will contribute towards your shrine's stacks, but at half the rate.
So you get reduced bonuses for invading in
1
this
goblet for 6 things cleared in the enemy jungle.
Right, so it's it's a very small amount, but you don't feel as bad.
So you can still steal from the jungle a little bit and get a bit of reward for that, but it's not
And
as much.
another important distinction that we haven't seen here is even though this can stack up to 7 times, 3 hits will clear it. So you'll get
Yes.
1, 2, and then all 5 on the 3rd hit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want you just standing here, just kind of hitting this thing for too long. It's meant to be something that you weave into your rotations and as you clear and as you gank, and that's what it's intended to
And
be.
what's fun as well is that can be split between several different players too.
Yep.
Well, after the jungle shrine, we've also got the new left side mid harpies. You guys have seen this at home a little bit on the overhead map view that we released earlier on.
Yes.
These left side mid harpy camps, there's a difference now between when you go through the left hand side of the map or the right hand side, Gold Fury side, or I say left hand side of the map, but it's not. It's Order side left,
Right.
Chaos side right.
It's the Gold
Fire
Fury
Giant side or Gold Fury side, easiest way.
So if you go towards Gold
the
Fury,
Gold Fury side.
there's going to be more of a separation now between able to just rotate all the way around towards the enemy red buff.
As
Yeah.
a mid laner, I'm definitely smiling a lot
you
because
can't
one of the
steal the
reasons
other
why we
team's
did this change
challenges.
is a little bit more agency for the mid lane. Now, as you can see, it's going to be a little bit harder
No,
for you to
baby
get
harpy.
So little.
invaded and ganked on that side.
We're going to kill babies in the game now. What's happening?
These are the same small harpies that have always existed in
Oh,
the
are
game.
they? Sorry, they
Yeah.
just look
Yeah, they
so
provide
much
the same
smaller.
value.
They're not
So
gonna
we
take
have
over with
small harpies, elder harpies, and we have the new alpha harpies. Those are new, but these are the same smalls. They're just now only smalls as opposed to paired small big or
So
whatever.
there's 2 small ones on either side, and you can see with this clip through, we can see how.
I wish they had
rotation
changed the
will be after
not the
those
layout,
testing other
the
tools. You
style
can't
of the
repost
map,
them,
the
can you?
colors and
there it is,
designs
there's
and
an
shit.
example.
Is it how thick is that wall out of interest? I'm probably a bit too technical because like, is there certain characters that can get through and
It
can't
looks
get
about
through?
40 units.
Yeah, like
Can
40,
Merlin
45.
blink through that?
No, I don't think you can.
That's what I
And
care
Merlin,
about.
I believe, has a
stuff.
30 unit rate.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, so the short jumps
So I
not
believe
so
it's
much.
around 40-ish.
That was good.
New buff Caduceus, can you do it?
I think you can.
It might be just right on the
It
line.
might be right in the line.
That is a big jump.
So that's a look at the left-hand side harpies.
Playing mid lane Camazons.
Well, AJ alluded to it moments ago. The new dual lane Alpha Harpy is also available too. And this is going to be extra experience for the dual lane. Is this one of the reasons to try and drive more, well, the 2 people to dual lane now?
Yeah, so the one thing that we did to drive more people to dual lane is the Pro Spine. That will probably pull people there to start. But what keeps you there is control and lane dominance.
Deep.
And one thing that helps drive that is also an extra buff there that you could potentially invade and steal from your opponent, or you want to secure on your own side. And these things are tough. They
I was going to ask because I was going to say because like having a new camp on this side sounds great, but can't someone just solo this down?
from my anecdotal feel is they are oracles in difficulty, but they hit harder. Really? So like if you are the hunter trying to solo them, you are making a large commitment to your health pool to do this. You really want that tank there helping you soak hits. You really want that extra DPS.
I do. I like the fact that I guess in the duel lane we see a little bit more lifesteal and sustain get built up as well. So as the game goes on,
then the
probably
hunter
can
will
be
be more
quite
able
safe.
Yeah,
think
you
about
can.
himself.
Once hunters start to come online, they surely can.
Gotcha. And how much? I don't really see the.
So all the
experience
numbers
on the
are available
patch notes.
in the patch notes. Yeah.
So is it a decent reward? of XP gold?
XP base gold reward 35, XP 40.
Okay.
So it's not huge,
Right.
honestly.
But it's something to keep you busy too.
Yes,
Something
and it's
for
something to gain as additional advantage if you're pressuring your lane properly.
Yeah.
But it's risky. It's something that's hard to solo, especially in the early game. And it's just adding more. A lot of the themes, a lot of these reasons we've done a few of these things is to continually spread things out on the map. You know, we've always gotten feedback about people say bigger map, but in the meantime, what we can do is really spread out sources of golden experience. It's a major part of playing a MOBA.
Yeah.
So since we've added the jungle shrine, that's a new objective. It involves you having to clear lots of things all over the map. It also has caused us to decrease gold in some other places, specifically killing towers. So towers were already pretty big snowball effect. Killing a
Towers are
tower
less
is already a really
gold?
big
Let's
tactical
go.
advantage. You've essentially reduced your enemy's territory by a huge amount. So we've actually decreased some of that to help make up for all of these new camps on the map.
Gotcha.
So it's as we spread these things out, it encourages players to spread out more, it encourages more tactical choices, and it also reduces snowball.
It feels like some of the gold has been redistributed from certain aspects into different aspects in the map too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Literally
what
what
that
you just
does
said.
is the things I listed there, which
Yeah.
gives you more tactical
Literally what it
choices
does is what I just
and
said,
decreases
Hindu.
snowball.
Come
Because
on.
now in order to snowball heavily your team, you have to make more small victories across the map, right?
Yeah, well, we've had a look at the jungle stuff for now. I do want to go into items next because there is an item we want to talk about, and I was very excited, and then I realized it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Hand of the Gods is back. It's in a consumable format, however, very similar to, the best way I can put it is like the rituals almost, right?
I suppose
100
you could say
gold
that,
is
but it's
so
really
much
Similar sort of
That's
way.
like, go back.
That's an
I'm like, oh, yeah,
esoteric
kinda
reference
like
for
that.
Sorry,
some
I've
of
been
our
around a
players.
long time.
It is a
but, like,
consumable that instead of providing a
Yo, that on Mercury?
buff to you or a heal over time,
Start on
it just has
Mercury
an
with
effect
boots?
immediately. So, I mean, like an award. A award
You're
is
right.
a
You're
consumable
clear
that
pretty
just
quick.
places a deployable that you can see through, now, or you can see from. Now, this one will kill or deal damage to neighboring jungle camps.
And it's also worth noting that because this is 51 minutes into that game, the camps are a lot tankier than they would be at.
Oh,
Central
good
Point.
point.
Well, no,
Wait,
we should have said anything and just had people going, wow, I'm going to need so long.
I'm
to
sure
kill
the
these
exact
mobs."
damage is specified.
It's 150.
Yeah, 150 true damage that does get amplified with Assassin's Blessing.
So you can
Yes.
only carry one of these consumables at a time, just so you know as well.
150 is
So the
kinda
idea of this is a consumable that you
meh.
can take into your jungle and then go to a camp and use, and it'll deal damage to everything around you that's a minion.
And just
That's a jungle.
jungle
Only
minions,
jungle minions?
and only
Not like-
jungle minions on your side of the map. So you cannot use it on bosses or neutral camps.
Mid harpies, no.
on your side, mid harpies.
It's
Yeah.
only 150
Oh, the
anyway.
left- not
Nobody's
fire
gonna use that
giant
on
harpies.
fucking.
Fire giant mid harpies.
No.
Any
Okay,
objectives?
but left hand. Oh, so Gold Fury mid harpies, you can use this.
You can.
And
Interesting.
your side's alpha harpies.
But those are also the squishiest jungle monsters in the entire
if you use
map.
it on
So
that,
I'd be
that'd be-
surprised if you wanted to use it there. But generally what this does is let you get a head start if you're more of a risky clear comp
Right.
in any lane. So this could be used by the duo lane if you're picking a more late game character. Or it could be used on the jungle if you're picking a more untraditional jungle.
And if you see them pick a Herc support and you think you're going to get invaded, you can also pick this up and be like, nope, I'm just going to kill my speed buff and then walk away from you.
as some
and not
insurance.
have to deal with the harassment or potential steal.
I'm probably going to put you guys on the spot real quick, but can you sell this item back to base if you don't use it? And do you get a cash back?
I don't believe we let you sell it. I don't think you get anything for selling it.
I just wanted
Yeah.
to check because that's always the thing of like maybe I take it for 100 gold at the start and then if I don't use it, you know.
No, I don't
whatever,
think you
It's
can
going to be
sell
using
it.
up that consumable slot though, so that's a pretty big deal.
If it does sell,
it's
it would
not.
sell
You only
for
start
the
health pots in the
fractional
jungle.
price that
Gotcha.
other things
So
sell
like
back
50
for.
or something
Yeah.
like
Yep.
25.
That'd be cool if you
Okay.
could
That's
sell
a
it
good
back
question,
for full
though.
It's
price.
just an interesting one from my point of view. Like maybe you just get it for safety, right?
So
just in case.
it costs 100 gold. Yeah, and it's not bad to have for safety. And there's a lot of places where it can be really effective. You know, getting to lane on time is really important.
Definitely.
So even if you're a little unsure,
There's no way
about how
mid
your
and
clear time
jungle
might go,
picks
it
this
doesn't
up.
really hurt you to get it.
I
too
doubt
much.
junglers even grab
Starts in
this
mid lane
item.
as well, where the mid lane mage or hunters and maybe would start with speed, go to mid lane, and then do
I think
red
the
by
item's gonna be
themselves
crazy
with the hog. But
situational.
you're sacrificing consumables.
Crazy
It's a pretty big
situational.
deal.
Yeah, that is a trade-off.
Especially with how the builds have been through the years, because you know the blessings around 800, so you always have that sort of, do I get boots? Do I go lost artifact if you're a mage?
Like, I don't wanna build it
am I
or
going for
buy
some
it
Devour's gauntlets?
if I don't have
Look at
to,
that sort of
unless
rush there. Onto more
increase
new
in
items,
clear
though.
time is
This is something that
valuable to
well,
get
it's
to
not
mid.
necessarily a new item. It technically is like a new relic slot almost. The Vision Shard. Let's have a look. Talk about this because once upon a time you could buy relics, and now
Boot
we
start
just
might
keep
become
giving
core if
people
you
free
with that
relics
item.
all the time. I'm making it even easier. And now we're not just going to have one free relic at the start, which is, you know, your beads, your Aegis, whatever.
Right.
You're now going to have this Vision Shard. Talk
That's
me
a
through
big
what this
ward.
Is about.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so the Vision Shard it's taking up the inactive slot that you normally would wait until level 12 to upgrade. It's kind of like a mini relic in the sense,
Okay.
where its effect is strong. Clearly, you're getting vision from it, but it's not quite as strong as maybe the other relics that you might get. But this gives you access to a single ward at the start of the game that you can place. And the key things here is its
Does it
range
go
is
away
less,
after
as
that?
well as its duration is significantly less.
Gotcha.
So why it does give you vision, you have to be a lot more tactful with it. Like if you know the jungler might come to invade you around a minute, you might want to wait to place that so you can place it at the key location because
ward
if you
is
place it too
smaller.
early, it could die before the jungler gets there.
Now the numbers on this ward of how long
No,
it
you can
lasts
keep placing
and
them.
such is always up for debate as well, right? Maybe it's
those
too
are all
Kind of
short.
fucking broken,
Maybe it's too
bro.
long. Maybe it needs a bit more range, a little less range.
Certainly
The
we'd be
cooldown of the relic
open
as
to
well.
balancing it after launch.
I really feel like
a big
that's
concern that some of the people
overtuned as fucking comp.
They're a little bit worried that maybe it's too much vision at the start, and then
I
junglers
feel like in
can't gank.
competitive
But
Smite
it
they should
does
remove
seem
this.
on a base level, like 60 seconds doesn't seem that long.
Yeah, 60 seconds with a 2-minute
How the
cooldown.
fuck am I
which
supposed to
means you
gank
really have to
somebody?
put it down at the times you think
there's
you can
5
get
wards on the
ganked,
map
and
at level 1.
Even then, with the smaller radius as well, the jungler might still be able to find their way through unless you're placing in really intelligent spots.
Right.
Can it be killed by sentry wards? Can you kill that?
Yes.
You get a
Kill it with
reward
sentry
to kill
wards,
it?
you won't get a gold reward.
Why not?
You will be able to teleport to it like normal, and it
Oh.
will count for the normal ward limit as well.
Oh, that's really. I love the idea of the teleport.
So we're not increasing the number of wards on the map total by a lot. All we're doing is encouraging some more tactful early game warding.
teaching people to ward. Still,
And
in
then when
season
you
7.
when you hit level 12, you will just be able to upgrade that to another relic for free. Or you can hang on to it for a little while, as some people might.
We'll see how it
I'm pretty
goes.
sure one of you guys already said this, but the shard ward will not have ward skin applications to it.
Right.
It's going to have a smaller radius, lower duration, and provides no gold when
It has
killed.
that new model as
I just want to
well.
make sure everybody knows, because you can tell the difference between you killing one of these wards versus one of the standard wards or a sanctuary wards.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's it for, 2 new items there so far. There'll be a few new things coming, I'll tell you that. Miscellaneous changes next up. XP playing, experience playing. It's always been a conversation that about how much experience you share, because it can have the situation where you've got junglers holding hands with mid laners a little bit more, but also it's important for supports.
Yes. So we've it used to be 150%. This used to be a
Yeah.
significantly higher number than what's listed here. We brought it to 120, and we watched players.
Which was a huge nerf.
Yes, we watched players optimize what that meant, and that over time has resulted in certain lanes being solo farm, certain characters sacrificing a lot of early strength to be able to go invade. We've kind of seen what the optimization of what 120% looks like, and we feel that bringing it up a little bit, not too much, will help, especially with all the other changes that we're doing, encourage a little bit more grouping up in those spread out scenarios, mainly the dual lane. This will help out a lot. If there's nothing for the jungler to do, the jungler can go to mid lane or solo lane and will feel good about it, or help dual lane with a gank and go pressure, invade stuff. Just this will help encourage group play a little bit more, but hopefully not go
Audio,
back to where
bro.
we were.
Never
where we were at
again.
100%.
Get rid of these shitty
Numbers,
mics.
It would still have to double to
Yeah,
be back
yeah.
where we were.
So we're giving an extra 5% extra experience for sharing with other people around you.
Yes.
That's basically the.
It's really what it is, less so than encouraging group play. It makes it so it doesn't feel like you're punished for grouping
Yes.
up, which we had certain roles at certain times in this year's meta where they really felt like, wow, just because I have to share with this player, I feel bad about it.
For the,
But now
for
we're
the first 3
just going to give you a
months
little bit more.
of the new season, as a support player, if you're out there, just turn around and say you're getting 5% more from me being here. Okay? Just make sure you tell them that. Not only that, we've also got the Totem of Crew rewards are going to get adjusted as well. There was a talk about
Nerfing
the
it?
solo lane earlier
Oh,
on.
yeah, they're nerfing
We
it,
talked
right?
about how there's the coup, the buff and stuff. What's going on with the Totem of Crew, Palm?
It largely felt, especially on the first round of getting it, it felt very impactful.
Yeah.
It felt like it gave a lot of, especially MP5 around the map, and that allowed a lot of lanes to pressure more than they would have otherwise, and encouraged solo laners that really could secure it at level 1, being the more dominant picks in the solo lane.
Right.
We want to make sure that it still feels worthwhile to go for, and still feels like it's the thing that solo laner brings to the team.
Keeps it busy.
We don't want to make it so binary in how strong it is,
Right.
so that a character that secures it always at level 1 is the go-to pick. We want some characters that are maybe a little bit weaker, but then can start taking the second, third, fourth one for them to also be considered relevant.
So
There's
that's
a lot of pro player feedback regarding this change, and what you're going to see here, if you're following along your patch notes, is a small gold increase or decrease from 25 to 20 on all of the totem kills for the team, as well as the MP5 is going to scale now. So it's only 10 MP5 from 0 to 5 minutes, but then it
Those
goes
are nice
up to
changes.
20 and
Small.
up to 30 at 5 and 10 minutes. So that way we actually
Honestly,
now
they
have
could
a
take
ramping
off the
effect
MP5
on killing
completely.
the totem to help fit more with the current pace of your gameplay.
Yeah, because like the early game, like obviously winning that first wave or two, the coups are important, but after that you kind of like, they're more important now to keep going because you're going to get more of a regen factor to them. Especially with the mana buff being changed as well, you're going to want this even more so.
That's true. And
Because we
really
have that
what the core goal is, we want to open up the solo lane viability character pool because people were focusing really heavily on ones that could get this super early. And we want more options there. We want people to be able to play a strategy where like, okay, I'm not going to get the first one, and that's okay, when they weren't saying that.
Okay, moving on then to the next part we're going to talk about is blessing changes. There's going to be some changes to the blessings because every year the blessings have a discussion about which ones are the best, which ones are the worst. We start things off with Guardian's blessing this time round.
One of the
It looks
best.
like it's going to be taking some changes to this. It
Nerfs.
looks like it's hit, but it's having some changes to
Nerfs.
it. Removing the MP5 from Guardian's blessing. Not only that, we're going to remove the 7 HP and mana restore per minion assisted, but instead it's now going to provide 7 HP5 and 7 MP5 while within 60 feet of an allied god. So if you're in range of someone with this, you're going to get a buff that's going to give you health regen and MP5 regen as long as you're in with range of your team, and it'll last for 10 seconds. So it means there's going to be a chance for you to be able to rotate from one place to another and have 10 seconds to get to another team, right? Right.
This is the no solo.
Weird. Okay.
This is the no solo Guardian's blessing
Yeah,
change, right?
they
This
don't
is
want
what it
Guardians
is.
in the soul lane.
That is exactly what this is. So you're going to see, well, there's an additional slight nerf because this blessing is really strong. But really now what it is in order to get the sustain, you can still get the gold.
Tank bitches.
But in order to get the sustain, the main sustain from this item, you need to be near an ally god. That part only works when you're near an ally god.
Can I just walk back in and out of range to get my regen back?
Yes.
So if I'm like right on the cusp and I just walk
This
out,
only
and it gives me
matters
10
if Warrior's
seconds to
blessing
kind
is
of
nerfed,
up against
though.
my edge, and then walk back in real quick and then run. We got 10 seconds to get to mid real quick and make sure we get that. Okay.
Sure, you can,
makes
but
sense.
optimizing that is not a huge deal, you know. But
You say that now, the pros like, oh, I missed
someone,
2
yeah,
ticks.
someone will build a strategy around it. Geb will only be viable because he can do that. Maybe, I don't think so.
It's
But
one of the restorative effects as well, right? So
Right.
you're not going to be getting like any gold change or anything like that. If you're at full health and mana, you don't have to worry about it at all.
That's a good point. Clubs. Assassin's Blessing, moving on to that one with a little Guardians. We're going to increase the damage versus jungle monsters. Is that by large amount or just?
Yeah, so it's went from
5%.
35%, which is what it normally is, to 40%. So it's just a
Okay.
small amount.
That's
The
it.
the jungle minions are getting a little bit tankier, so we wanted to keep Assassin's Blessing kind of on par
Worst
with those
blessing in the
changes.
game.
and that is
got
an important thing.
5% warrior
We saved
damage.
this
More
section
damage.
to talk about
That's
now
it.
with the blessing, but a
We got
lot
5
of the
damage.
jungle camps across the
5%
conquest
damage.
map had some
Which
slight
is literally
buffs to their health
like
and
5
protection.
damage. We got 5 damage.
This is for a couple reasons. So, of course, the Assassin's Blessing being adjusted along with it, so junglers should notice similar clear times.
Right.
But other roles will have a slightly more difficult clear
one
times.
cares about their
but
clear
also,
times.
a lot of the camps were repositioned in ways that we now intend you to play differently, right? So we said that Alpha Harpy would be really hard to kill. That's because we want 2 players over there. A lot of people were saying maybe in the blog post
We
being
got
announced, a lot of
5
people were saying that
damage,
maybe mid lane
boys.
would have
Let's
trouble
go.
now because of these tankier camps, but now they have these 2 smaller harpies, which are
And a
actually
hog.
easier to
We
kill.
got
So even though
155
some things
damage,
got more,
boys.
Consumable
Let's
now. They can
go.
clear it that way.
well,
Really struggling.
I know, but this is just a logical thought process that the community is going through, and I want them to understand that this is intentional. And just the fact that everything got tankier doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to feel that way in every combination because of the class role position changes that might happen.
Right.
So this is a big change across the whole map together, but really we've noticed this feedback over years. People wanted little bit tankier camps. What that does is actually create more interesting fights.
No
around
trouble.
them,
How much
right? That's
camp-
really
how
our
much
goal.
health
Make
does
more
a camp have
interesting
at level
combat
1?
in Smite. So when these camps don't die in one hit, that gives players more chances to spot this out being done. Chances
like
to,
300?
fight against them, chances to kind of steal
So with
them.
hog and
or
ability,
lock
you
down
are
gods while they're
kinda
distracted.
one-shotting
So just giving us a little
speed
bit more
buff.
time to fight around those should give us some pretty interesting
420?
gameplay options.
Did you just make that
Let's
up?
do
Or is
the
it actually
blessings. I'm
420?
going to switch real quick, pivot away from Conquest towards the Specialist Blessing. It's also listed here, the Evolved Specialist Blessing as well. It's now going to provide 10 HP 5 on top of its already stats, because I'm pretty sure it gave movement speed and MP5.
Mana per 5 and cooldown reduction on the evolve.
It was really good in Assault if you were a healer, But now it could be even better because you've got a bit more reach than that too.
Those non-conquest blessings, still sleeper.
Oh,
You know, if
silver.
you're an arena joust assault player,
Attack
try
is
those
blessing.
out. Those are good.
Penetration on a blessing, take it.
So now, you know, we have a lot more bug fixes and some other changes that could definitely affect Conquest. That everyone definitely take a look at these patch notes. We don't want to go into all of them. We'll be here all day and all night, which we've
We're not in
done before,
Valencia
but-
now, friends. I'm not doing it
So
again.
take a look. There's some really interesting stuff in there, some additional quality of life stuff. We added better visual feedback on the mini map for minions versus fire minions versus Oni minions. We adjusted the range of, we had fixed some bugs where minions could get too far away than intended in certain places. This could affect all game modes and make it like so your Anubis circle would clear the wave one match, but then another wave might have gotten jostled on the way.
didn't
And
nerf
now the
Warrior's
archers are too
Blessing?
far away to hit them.
Gotcha.
Fix some issues like that. We repositioned the spirit minion a little
Are
bit.
they
at the first
fucking
wave,
trolling?
just so it's more likely that both members of the dueling will get it, and even
Yeah,
more
just look at
changes.
the
So go
patch
ahead
notes.
and take a look
You're
through all those
fucking
as you go
trolling.
through it. There's a lot of small but impactful
You're
quality
literally
of life
fucking
and bug fix
trolling.
type of thing.
Who
I
the
did
fuck
think
cares
it was
about Guardian's
for the
Blessing?
package I got here, but clearly for all the bug fixes and things out on there as
The
well,
bug
make sure you
fix
check the
list
full-
is long, honestly.
Good.
We probably should have done a section on it
Well,
today, but
Enough. You guys can check it at home as
I'm
well.
stoked
You'll see
about
in
it.
the game.
Read it over at home.
Let's move on though to consumable changes. The next
Oh
thing
my
I've got on
God,
here.
these
So we're gonna see some
consumable
changes to
changes.
these consumables. We're going to start off with the Chalice of Healing and Healing Potion.
Wait till you
This
see
has already
these
been mentioned to you
consumable
guys at home.
changes.
I
This
just
is
want to
huge.
reaffirm again. The effects no longer stack with each other. So the Chalice of Healing and the Healing Potions won't stack on top of each other. It says the fountain volume will now overwrite all heal potion effects.
Yes. so,
That doesn't seem like that's
Wait.
going to be very
Wait, so-
meaningful.
so TLDR of the change, right, is health potions and chalice potions are essentially considered the same thing now, which means that if I pop 3 healing potions and then I pop a 4th chalice potion, they're just going to stack on top of each other.
Right.
So instead of stacking side by side and giving double regen, they just add to the duration.
Yeah.
The problem with that is I hit chalice, 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 walk out of the fountain, walk back in, chalice, 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 walk out, walk back in.
infinite.
You can infinite it. So now if you use a chalice in the fountain, if you use a potion in the fountain kills it. So do
I'm
not
highly
abuse it.
disappointed because I brought one of those issues up previously and it already worked
not
out. to
doing
fix
it.
them.
That was the
Damn.
first, when we first invented chalices, the community was like, before we even said anything, they're like, how do I make it go infinite?
spam it
We're
in
like,
base.
no, you're not going infinite.
So that's the healing potion situation in terms of the chalice of healing and healing potions start stacking. Same thing can be said for the chalice of mana and mana potions. They won't stack and they'll have the same effect in fountain. If you go back in, the chalice will.
A lot of people
wear off.
questioning on us on those. It's obviously not as big of a gameplay impact, but it is a good consistency. Sake. We want these
It's
similar
nice.
mechanics
Like
to
this,
function similarly.
the stacking
Mana
shit is
doesn't
actually a
stack.
big deal.
And then potions,
Multi-potion
multi-pots,
does stack.
Still going to be the same.
Correct.
So they
Multi-potion
work.
will
Being
still
able to
stack
have
with a
health chalice
health
and a health pot on an
potion
early
or chalice
gank,
and a mana.
you're pretty much
or
unkillable
chalice.
with
Oh yeah,
Warriors
Barons too.
Blessing procs,
Don't
so
forget
you're
to grab some
unkillable.
brew.
You always should get the brew. Not only that, we're going to have one other thing to talk about, which is a rework to the potion of power.
This is
because It's not
huge.
just a potion of
Huge.
Well, I mean, it is just a
Or
potion of
physical
power,
power, yeah.
but it's going to be
For
combined
junglers,
from the 2 different versions we've had.
This
previously.
changes.
Right,
and
so we
this
had
is
some, we
massive.
added some more complicated effects to those potions.
Massive.
Nobody seemed very excited by those. People still bought them at the same kind of place in the game ever since the power potion level change of Season 4 or whatever to prevent the power potion start.
Hold on, can I do
This has been an item that you buy kind of as you're finishing build before you start looking into the elixirs, the speed potion, etc. So people are still buying it then. We're just merging this into one potion.
I can.
So
Oh,
now
this is
physicals
sick.
or
Look at
magical,
this.
whatever, you'll buy this one potion that gives you both types of power and CDR.
So you get 70 magical power or 40 physical power, 10% CDR, and it's got a 5-minute duration
Yeah,
until
it's
or
pretty
until
much the
kill.
same as them both combined. We're just removing one of
And
the
really what
physical
this
power
does is just
effects.
help it
We
make
could
people
follow
able
along.
to find potions in the shop more easily. Now with the addition of like things like Baron's Brew and then Hand of the Gods, it's
Kinda
starting
big,
to get a
though.
little,
Wanna make it
little
smaller?
long list in there. So
Okay, well that's a few
Devar.
of the updates so far. It's time now to. You ready to go again? Because we're almost in balance.
well, that was
now.
just Conquest,
Yeah,
really.
so
Let's
So
just
now
some updates to
and
Conquest
some
in general.
items that had heavy implications with Conquest, but are also affected by other modes. But now we're transitioning
I
into
don't want
the
to do
complete.
this. I do want to do this, but I
item
don't want to do
section.
this.
I am balanced. So let's little talk here first of all. What was the major goal of the items this year? So I know we're going to go through penetration stuff eventually on mages. That's been talked about a little bit.
Right.
But what was the overall goal here from your point of view?
Yeah, so we wanted to look at items that have just traditionally been underwhelming, and at the start of the season,
Oh,
find
yeah, the
ways
notes
that we
should
can
definitely
kind of
still be on the
bring
screen.
them out, get people excited about purchasing these items. That
Oh, you
kinda
know what?
like
No,
fall
I
on the
can't do that.
wayside.
Fuck.
Or look at places where we've adjusted different items and different strengths of characters and different strengths of roles.
That was not
and
my
see what we can do
music.
to
Don't
either
ask
help
me.
or in some
Don't
cases
ask
nerf
me about the music,
whatever
not
needs
me.
to happen for these items.
Our goal is always to create the most number of viable items. We want the most number of combinations of builds. We want the most amount of choices. We want everything to feel like it can work in some situation or
There's a
some
reason
god.
for every item to
Yes.
exist,
Right, exactly.
There's a situation to pick it up in that could be useful. We're going to start off then with neutral items.
Yeah, I have an
Mystical
idea.
Mail,
It's really
first of all,
sick.
going to have a decreased cost, but also have decreased health on this item, so it may be a little bit more viable for you to pick
Now,
up.
I am very excited for this one. Some people might see it as a nerf, but
It's
I
still gonna
tend
have the damage to
I
it.
like to rush this item and joust and things like that, and you can do some
God.
crazy damage. So this change is really exciting.
But you won't be as tanky for it.
That's true, and that's honestly okay. One of the problems with this item is when it's just too stat dense
Right.
across the board. That's what it's historically been a problem. But it is kind of a flex item, and it has these interesting applications. So being able to rush it, that fits with our design consistency with the way we approach other items of similar role.
It's one of the things that we saw in solo lane a lot
So-
because it gave a lot of, not just sustain, but extra damage in that lane to help clear in the early
Me and the Threes bros running double Guardian rushing this is going to be
I'm
a thing.
the
We're gonna
three.
continue to do that.
Well, that's
It's
Mr.
been
Bane.
successful
Say that
for us in the
again,
past.
Ajax.
We'll move on. Witchblade is going to get a bit of a change as well. It's going to get some more health added to it here. It's going to go by 50 health. That should help out a little bit on making it a bit more viable. I think it was in a pretty good spot anyway in terms of what it brought.
Yeah, it's still a little bit of love to the item.
Need a bit more love.
Remind
The
me
problem
that
is,
it
as
still
as
exists.
something that supports might want to itemize into to help their team through the aura.
I
It
have
didn't
done
have the
occasion.
stats, so
Yeah.
giving it just a little health. It's still a hybrid item, but now supports hopefully feel a little bit better about picking it up when they really feel like it's a good counter item.
Shoguns as well. He's also going to get an update, increase the attack speed aura. Interesting. It's going to go by 5%, so it makes it a bit more attractive to if you're using a few more in-hand characters in your game, maybe Carly, Sol, and any other hunter in the game. Add that together, and they'll be quite happy.
So there's a bit of a theme developing here, if
Yeah.
you might have noticed that all of the items we're looking to for the kind of support class, and of course some of these could fit towards warriors as well, are aura items. We're buffing a lot of them in order to make sure that this class feels like they've got something interesting, impactful, and some new choices at the start of the season.
So that's Shoguns. We've also got Sovereignty on this list. That's going to get a bit more HP 5 added to it. And on top of that, we're also going to have Heartward Amulet as the two auras, as Adrian was just mentioning. We're going to see Heartward Amulet having a bit increased MP5. Is that personal MP5 or is that team MP5?
That's team MP.
That's on the aura.
Okay.
That's on the aura.
Just wanted
so
to make sure.
there you go. Your assault changes again,
Yeah, but
Mr.
why?
Assault Main. But also, I
You
really
don't
feel
need an
like
assault anymore. Don't go getting Heartwards if you're playing that. It's on other people responsible. There's Blackthorn hammers. There's Chronos pendants. They can do it themselves.
here's the top. We should have a show just about the top tier assault gameplay.
Listen,
honestly,
we can
but
have a ranked assault discussion at some point. It's going to happen.
I don't know about ranked, but
Season 9, ranked assault, no trades, no rerolls. You are locked on the god, and certain healers are in a
Oh,
with
they
our
put it in the
precious
bottom.
moments
They're
on this long
trolling.
show, this is what we choose to
This
talk about.
was the most important
But,
thing for me
all
to
right,
say.
so this regen effect though, we really believe is underrated in Conquest too. A lot of people when they think of Heartward Sov, they only think about the protections.
We're
but
good
in
for
this
now, then.
mode,
I
when
have
you're
it in case
out
it goes
and
away.
lane longer. Those regens and being able to share those with your team, that's underrated. That is an interesting effect.
I do
And
wanna
we
mention
think
I've
this
been
is
a
gonna bring these
Boozled
items
stream.
back.
I saved the day and then they killed it.
MP5 and HP5 are not. And these are actual
HP5 is not
MP5 and
affected by
HP5
anything.
Only the healing
stats.
effects.
Only
Oh, it's
feel
not
over
for
time.
everyone.
Because
Oh,
that's just
okay,
where
then I'll
it's
leave it
like,
up.
you
I'll
can't
just
You
follow
use
along. It's
stack
fine.
HP5 and
It's
you
just a
can
little
continue.
double up. It's not like I'm blocking
HP5
anything.
is a very potent stat that is often considered underwhelming.
And
for
we will
most
be
players, but it's very
going
strong.
over this concept again with a new HP5 item later for an interesting reason.
So that's it for the neutral items. We're now going to move on to the magical items, and this is where we're going to get a bit tricky because we talked a little bit about what's been going on with the penetration. You guys can all read up on that on the website as well, all to do with all the changes that's going to be happening to the magical penetration.
Right.
In terms of the percentages versus flat
Well,
pen.
so we're going to start with new items.
Right.
We're going to go through some of the new magical items, and then we're going to talk more about penetration when we get to Obsidian Shard.
One of them just kind of mixes the.
But some of the new, but
Actually,
some
order
of the
starts
new
with
items.
Dynasty Plate Helm and then goes to the new item, but it's part of that
But
tree.
yeah, it's part of the tree. But some of the new items, their design role was created out of the penetration change, and we can talk about that.
And
as
you'll
we
see exactly what we talk about there when we get to that. So, first of all, Dynasty Plate Helm will now have a tier 3 counterpart, the Tyrannical Plate Helm.
That's the new item.
We have updated the cost and stats of this item to better match this new
Tyrannical
item.
Plate
Tyrannical
Helm.
Plate Helm, let's go through it. It's gonna be, Tyrannical Plate Helm has high magical power and an interesting new passive. The passive is, if there are allied minions around you, they gain 20% max HP and 20% attack speed. Whenever an allied minion dies around you, you gain 5 power per stack, up to 6 stacks.
Right.
Yep.
20% max HP. and 20%
What?
attack.
So to note, this is
the
no
minions
longer a
around it.
penetration tree at all. So the
Right.
Dynasty Plate,
Wait,
no
wait,
penetration. It's going to
wait,
have similar
wait,
stats
wait,
as we
wait.
see on Tyrannical, which is
Wait,
power,
wait,
magical power,
what?
physical protection, and health. But then let's talk about the item design more as a whole, Ponicle Z.
Wild.
Yeah,
So
the
we
minion
want-
buff item.
Yes, we this has been discussed a lot. Is an item that helps you push or helps you like threaten to push down a Phoenix or help you break a siege. A Tyrannical Play Helm is essentially that. You can pick it up on maybe if you're the more kind of frontline mage, or
What if
bruiser mage,
you're
or if you're a
split
support and you want to
pushing?
pick this up for the defensive nature of it. You can basically walk next to your minions, lead them to the charge, and when they fail you and die to the tower or die to the enemy team and they've let you down, you take matters in your own hand and you start punching
Is
the
there
tower
gonna be a
yourself.
physical
Yeah,
version of
even
this?
when there's no minions,
Right,
you
there-
get
there has
something
to be,
around
right?
as long as you've been near minions recently.
physical power version?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Two
couple of
questions.
Emperor's armor too.
Oni minions, do they get affected by this?
All lane minions around you should be affected by this.
All minions. Fire minions.
Clay
fire
minions.
No. Only actual minions.
No.
Those are clay
Only-
soldiers. They're not minions. They're
Yep, there
pets.
you go.
I'm just making
Don't
sure.
don't try to
Nice
change
try.
it.
There'll be people at home just like me now going, so the clay soldier minions, I can buff them even more.
God pets do not fall into the category of minions.
Okay, I just
Only
wanna-
archer, swordsman, brute,
Just want to make sure.
and
so this
possibly
is
with their
It's
fire
only
or Odin
24
buffs.
and a
gonna
gold.
be
This could affect all
defensively,
modes.
offensively in both regards of trying to push down a little bit quicker.
Fans of
And
the
it
old
gives
school,
you
is it the promote?
85 power.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Of closed
40
beta? Or like,
protections,
was that even
100
closed beta? Was that
health.
pre-beta?
At like PAX 2013, we
And
had one
20%
match where we all went
CCR
that, and we
and
just
gives
hard
you
pushed a wave.
fucking
We
30
got
more
stopped
power.
with the Phoenix and then had to win
This
the
is
old-fashioned
essentially
way.
the balanced version of that.
Okay.
What?
We'll see how balanced it is as the season progresses.
should
but
never call it
PTS is first,
Right
yes.
now.
you
But this
should
is
look-
the exciting yet counterplay possible version. of that.
What?
Yeah.
So Tyrannical Plate Helm. See that in game, test it out, tell us what you think. Next
better be
up,
a physical
Stone of
version of
Foul.
that.
This has had a few changes through the years and a couple of different looks. It's going to have a
People
new
have been asking for
passive
this
here
one.
to try and make it more viable, I guess, for people to want to pick up. The new passive is you gain 20% of your magical protections of the nearby allied god with the highest magical protections within 70 feet.
Protection sharing.
So a teammate, so you can just get. Oh man,
Just be
I'm
near-
I'm a stat bot again as a support player. aren't I?
Somewhat. I mean, you don't
That's what
even
I
need
am.
to with your natural
Hey, we have very
protections and your
aggressive
items.
auras that are good for us
That's true,
support
that's true.
players
Yeah,
too right
Shoguns
now.
So they get
actually go
20% of the
really well.
magical protections
Yeah.
of the nearby
Bro,
allied
there's
god.
so
So
much
now,
power
if you know,
on
if
these
you're worrying about
items.
this magical assassin or these other high-powered magical characters, I just need to be near my support, and that'll already give me a benefit. Just helping you with your positioning,
It's
you know,
only
and
40
that way
though,
you
right?
really
Like,
don't have to
it'll
do
be
much else than
40
that.
to
First time
60
as a support,
power
somebody might want a
defense.
support player near him now.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
It's
no,
definitely
go
good.
away,
It's
go
good.
away.
It's definitely
Come
good.
here, come here.
Peel
That's
for
what
me.
they're
This
kinda
item
crazy.
still fits its original goal of being a magical power item that helps you itemize
it
against
gives
other
you-
mages.
it gives you
But we
80
didn't
magical
want
protection
mages
like
just
it.
buying a bunch of protections. And we didn't
Or
really want to be
a
putting just
100.
too much magical protections on this power item, right? Because then it's
Fuck.
just that's an overpowered hybrid. So this sharing kind of concept, it's a very new mechanic. So we're really interested to see how this works out. It looks like it's going to solve a lot of those design questions in those edge cases. Will it be as applicable as we
Hey,
think?
I'm already ready to
Will
play
it be better
Ganesh
than Old
jungle
Stone
all
of Fall?
day,
We hope
so.
so. We're looking forward to seeing how people feel about it.
So having a look at and try out the Stone of Fall. Next up is to talk about removing the Shaman's Ring. It's not going to be available
Rip
in
in
the game
peace.
anymore.
Ring of
Lot of debate about
Hecate.
that.
A lot of people have
How do you
expressed
say
to
that?
us that they just really enjoy the passive, even though it was statistically worse than most other power items.
Right.
Which, you
Was it
know,
more like a
Flare
nerf
Boot's going to
trap?
battle for us out there, trying to prove to people that it really wasn't very good damage.
Was that
Fear
the
of
argument for
Desolation
it? It was
essentially
kind of a
always
trap.
beat it.
But people felt good about how it worked, so we're going to keep in mind that tech, that debuff tech that puts your god icon on other people. We're going to keep that in mind, and we're going to see if we can apply that somewhere else in the game. But for right now, for our goals for this season and these item changes,
lot of
this
lifesteal.
item was not doing us any favors because of its confusion. It's giving this power. We were balancing power and penetration across the board. So this item is gone, and it's making room for a new ring.
Look at these segues. They're perfect. Thanks,
A
AJ.
very
On
exciting
to
new ring.
The
Yeah,
new
this is,
ring.
pretty spicy.
Ring of Hecate. Hecate?
Hecate.
That is this.
Hecate.
It is a reference to
Hecate.
the goddess of witchcraft.
Yep.
Mage AD carries have been asking for this item for a long time. We'll find out, shall we?
Yes.
Passive. Hitting enemy gods with basic attacks gives you one stack of
a lot of
2%
lifesteal.
lifesteal. Stacks up to 5 times, and stacks last 5 seconds. So it's a lifesteal item for
Alquag,
mages.
maybe?
Lifesteal.
Alquag
Based on
jungle?
Power, attack speed, lifesteal. All together in one item for the first time ever.
Ramped up together.
think.
So it's only hitting enemy gods
For
with
magic
basic attacks as well.
Well, for magical powers. So yeah.
It just says enemy gods, though. It's not going to work on minions.
Yes,
Enemy
correct.
god.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
actually
So
huge
this is
for
a
like
fighting
Banger Banger,
jewel and
Freya.
So it gives you a good amount of lifesteal all the time.
Chronos,
But for
Soul.
the ramping passive lifesteal, that's only going to apply in the boxing scenario when you're actually hitting an enemy god.
Gotcha. And that'll be what we see from that passive. So we'll see how this one works.
Well, this is just really cool because this is a stat. These are all the stats that mage ADCs need, and normally they kind of have to itemize into a full
Yeah.
other set
You
of a
might not
couple
need to
tier
get
3
bank buffs
items.
this time if you don't feel like it's necessary.
Gotcha.
So what we're hoping this does is open up the Mage ADC build paths to include some more interesting.
Maybe you've got
Say
healers in the
max
team, you don't
attack
necessarily need
speed.
as much sustain, but you might
Catch
want
me
a
on
little bit.
Quang with
in case
max
it
attack
triggers
speed
you.
finally.
Because of this, the ring tree is now actually the attack speed tree.
Hey, we got a
and
new-
the tier 2 gets attack
We got a new
speed.
attack speed
Tier
item.
2 is
but-
in the patch notes. I thought I put it next to this one.
Ymir
now get all the four
attack
rings
speed.
without that.
It got moved down, but yeah.
What
the Tier
else?
2 ring will feel much better to
What
buy
else
now,
is
too.
fun?
Well, from rings,
there any other
we
fun-
move on
fun
to
attack
coins.
speed
We've
guardians?
got another new item coming out here. This one is intriguing.
What
I don't
the
know if it's
fuck
good.
is this?
I don't know if it's bad. I just know it's going to be in the game.
It's pretty good for our testing.
It is a
Charon,
wait. This
Charon,
is a
Charon.
fucking.
Charon.
It's a.
Charon, yeah.
It's RNG.
Okay,
Charon.
Karen.
Car on.
Charon.
I thought it was
Karen's-
Care.
I thought it
Karen's
was
Karen.
car.
All right, it's Charon.
Someone knows.
You'll correct us regardless.
Not to
Charon.
be confused
Okay.
with Chiron.
Right.
Charon is the boatman of the dead, the ferryman.
Yeah.
Rumen of the Styx.
He requires a coin for passage to the underworld.
And you too can now own the coin in Smite.
Call the number at the bottom of your screen now.
Karen's coin.
Wait.
It's going to be a 20% magical penetration item. Just to be clear, they're focused on long-term investment
Am I
and
reading
extended
this right, or
engagement
does this
rather
sound
than
like
roll
shit?
for a burst. The passive reads, on God kill or assist, a coin is flipped. If heads, you gain a stack of 7 HP 5. If tails, you gain a stack of 2 movement speed. Each effect can stack up to 4 times, and at 8 stacks, this item will evolve. It evolves too? What?
Yeah,
This item evolves. You also gain 1 gold every time the coin is flipped.
good.
All right.
Because you flipped the coin.
I like the
for
coin
thematic
flip.
reasons. You summon a coin, you get 1 coin.
Evolution.
It sounds like
so
it's
going to
not
the
for
evolution. So
conquest.
first of all, just to be real clear, you get HP 5. If you get one side of the coin, the other side of the coin will give you movement speed. And on evolution, on God kill or assist, a coin is flipped. And if
sounds like
heads,
it's
you'll
not
gain
for
150 health over 6 seconds.
Conquest.
Or if tails, you'll gain 5% movement speed for 6 seconds. You also gain 1 gold every time the coin is flipped again on the evolution.
That's the
version
most
as well.
important part, too.
So if you get 2,700 kills, you've paid the item.
Yeah.
No, it'll be in Conquest. This isn't a
Maybe
jungler
Thanos.
item.
All right,
This
no,
doesn't give
Clumsy,
you
Clumsy,
anything.
walk us
This
through this
passive
item,
is shit.
its overall intention and a little bit more. Give us
Yeah,
a
I
bit
wanted
of
to,
the user experience so we can understand it
We
more
talked
clearly.
about it a little bit earlier as well, but we've kind of reached into the section where with the new items, we're also at the penetration changes. So this is going to be one of the first of the 2 items that's going to have the 20% magical penetration. And that's going to be pretty important.
why. It's 'cause of the
Karn's Coin is
percentage.
something- We're going to
This
talk
is
about Obsidian
huge.
Shard right afterwards, but Karn's Coin kind of...
The 20%
it's
is
a little bit more,
huge.
it's
The
a little more
passive
interesting. It's a
is
permanent stacking item. You
weird.
kind of want to get it kind of in the middle of the game where you know you're going to be versing some tanky characters, but you also want to start the stacking effect pretty early.
Right.
And we also wanted to play a little bit with this RNG mechanic that doesn't feel too unfair. They're both kind of buffs that they're permanent stacks, right, until you evolve it, that don't feel too, unfortunate if you only get 1. If you get tails, you don't feel bad for getting that you didn't get heads, and same thing, vice versa. So I think it's going to be one of the more interesting niche items
So do
here.
you keep
Just on the
these
numbers real
stacks
quick, the passive
even
of that
after
would be
the evolution?
10%
I
you'll
hope.
get movement speed, and then the stacks will evolve it, and you get 5% on top.
So you'll get 8%, once it evolves, it'll have 8% permanent.
okay, so you
movement
keep
You
speed.
get 5 still.
Okay,
28%
so it's not a bad item.
HP5,
This
and
is
then
a good
when this
item,
next
actually.
proc happens, you'll get
This is
gold
definitely a good
on top.
item.
Okay.
The 20% pen plus
you cannot flip past the maximum.
8%
Right? So if you happen to
movement
go
speed all the
tails
time?
4 times,
You'll
you'll
get
then start to
4
get you'll get
heads.
heads 4
You will
times
not,
next.
you will not be able to
But-
fail
So
this
rigged
item.
coin is what you're telling me.
Yeah,
eventually,
it is.
right?
But the goal is
The
you can
item's
only hit the
actually pretty
max cap. Yeah.
Okay.
So
They
You
just
rolled
said
a 20%
yes. They
magical
literally
pen on
just
this,
said it's
by the way.
stacked.
so
Yeah,
after
that's
8
the main
kills,
part,
this
the
will
main
always
importance.
evolve regardless of the order.
It's permanent
So
8%
it could
once
be,
you
it could
have
be,
4 stacks.
understood that you might get
Two and two.
unlucky and you never evolve
Right?
it, but that's
But
not
yeah,
the case.
Yeah, 'cause you
focus
go
on
4
that.
and
This is
4.
one of the 2
So
20%
you get 8%
magical
movement
pen
speed.
There's only 2 in the
and
game.
you get
There's only 2.
fucking
And
28
There will be a
HP5.
40% cap. So the new, as we go into Obsidian Shard, in the new world of magical penetration, there'll be a lot more items that have percent pen on them, and it'll be up to the player to decide
This'll
how they
be
want to mix and match those.
weird,
to
though,
get
'cause you won't wanna
the
get
other
this
stats,
early
the
to
item
get
passives
stacks.
and the penetration that they need. Do they need the full 40%? Not every match. Okay, that's fine. I can go some
it's
other
only
traditional
80
high power
power,
items, or
and
if
it's
you really need the
expensive.
40%, there will be lots of different combinations
I
of
don't-
10s and 20s
I don't
you can
really.
do to reach
I don't know
that
how this is
cap.
gonna fit in the game.
Well, there's the first 20% one. The second 20% one is Obsidian Shard, which we're going to move on to now. Now, obviously, Obsidian Shard's still in the game. It's going to have a bit of an increased cost
Wait,
to
where's
this
Odd
as
Shard?
well.
What the fuck?
We have added 20% magical penetration to this item. Your first ability cast gains 10% magical penetration. This can only occur once every 10 seconds. Which is your first ability cast gains? What does that mean?
So after the timer, the cooldown timer is
Right.
up,
There
the
is a
next
cooldown timer.
ability you hit a god with is going to get the
It's
trigger.
an internal cooldown of 10 seconds.
Gotcha. I just didn't see the internal cooldown in there.
Yeah.
Oh, it does say that now.
So it'll have
The main
30%
takeaway is that
on the
Obsidian Shard
proc.
has been a pretty problematic
20%
item
all
for
the
many
other
different
time.
reasons. We talked about that in the blog, so I'm not going to reiterate all of that.
They didn't
but
increase the
essentially, it's
power
a
on it?
base 15% magical penetration, going all the way up to 45%, which is even more than the new cap we've put into Season 7.
Right.
So now it's going to have this 20% with an extra 10% on this conditional passive
There's the power.
that actually goes over. It's not going to be obeying that same 40% cap. So Karin's coin is
No,
the 20%,
I'm sure I got a nerf.
which takes a little bit more investment.
Yeah.
Obsidian Shard is kind of the upfront. It costs less gold as well, where you just want to get it in more reaction. If you're going to be
It
versus tank
costs
characters
more,
that have started
gives you
taking on
less
magical
pen late
defense.
game,
Yeah,
which
and
is
that
when you were
passive really
building
does
it.
help you. Like if you're
I'm
just trying
assuming it
to
has the
threaten
same
maybe
power.
a warrior who's built like a pestilence off you, this item as a one-off will still help you threaten, but it won't negate that purchase that warrior made, which was a large
Shard
part
will
of
be
why we did
a
all these magical items.
sell
or
boots,
penetration changes.
buy
It's
item
really
if you
hard to
need the
TLDR
pen,
the changes.
but you can't
which is
go
why
over
you should go read the
40%.
blog
Yeah,
post because
definitely
it
read the
goes
blog.
really
I mean,
deep into
the
this.
main
So I don't know.
points we were trying to convey is that Obsidian Shard and Spear of the Magus
I
were
feel like
both
they might have
problem
killed
items for
Obsidian
different
Shard
reasons.
if
Spear of the
thinking
Magus
about
made
this
certain
correctly.
gods more viable than others and caused a lot of problems in that regard with flat penetration. And Obsidian Shard was just kind of like one item wonder for anti-tank. And we were trying to fix both of those problems simultaneously, which has caused us to kind of refactor penetration and magical power
New
across
god?
the board. With the
There's not a
number
new
one
god, is
goal
there?
of as Smite as a game, the magical damage being dished out should be easier to comprehend where it's coming from, and it should ramp up at a more reasonable rate as opposed
I don't
to
think
just,
that's this patch. Is
oh,
it?
I was fighting this mage and completely crushing them, and now all of a sudden they're two-shotting me, and I don't understand why.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I don't know what you guys
We're
are
going to
talking
move
about.
along because we're not even
trying.
halfway through the show yet, and we're deep. We're deep into
All right, move
Spell
it.
focus. Added 10% magical
That's just
penetration.
at tier 2.
Remove the passive. The tier 2
Parity
Obsidian
with
Shard.
Obsidian Shard.
Yep.
We're going to give it 10%. So it's
It's
still
a
pretty
nerf.
viable, though. I
Yeah.
think 10% for.
But
the tier
it
2
used to
version.
be more.
It did. But it still could be useful. Spear of the Magus. This is a bit of a change here as well. Spear of the Magus was the second main item for mages in terms of penetration. Obviously, we're going to be increasing the magical power of this item, but also subsequent hits of the same ability deal 6% increased damage, stacking up to 6 times.
So just like we talked about Obsidian Shard, which is a massive problem for mages' damage against tanky characters,
Yeah.
Spear of the Magus was the opposite, where it would hit squishy characters, hit all the ones with the small amount of protections really, really hard. And depending on what mage you were, what character you were, it was going to give you different benefits. So we saw a lot of trends in the last few years where Spear of Magus has really empowered a lot of these mages, these dot characters, these persistent ability firing characters
What?
to really high degrees. I mean, each god starts the game with 30 magical protections,
Yes.
scaling at 0.9. And Spirit of Magus has the potential to reduce 50 flat protections, basically demolishing it all the way to 0,
Wait.
where you're dealing true
Wait.
damage with maybe just
So
one
this
pass.
is
And in a
only
debuff form, so
good
other gods would
on,
also be
like,
hitting that.
And then your
Anubis ult,
subsequent
right?
fire of your other abilities will continue to deal damage. This was a pretty big problem just for the reasons that AJ talked about, where
It would have to
as
hit
you're- if you're the
6
opponent, you may not
times to
know
do
why
the
you're suddenly
increased
taking
damage
true
over the
damage
same
from this other
ability.
character and from other mages as well.
But now it's a true dot damage, and it only
No.
affects the dot or the ability itself, the deployable, the stim
No, because
that has
Kukul's
multiple
3
fires.
would stack
Just
up
that
and then not
ability
do any
itself is
extra
going to
damage.
ramp
Will
up
not
the
do the full
damage.
30%
So that's going to be
extra
cool on
damage.
gods like Kukulkan, Anubis. It even works on things like Freya, Isis, Raijin,
To be
Multi.
clear on this, does it have does it reset the stacks or does it keep applying as you reuse the ability on the same person?
Well, if you're
Yeah, does it
using a
stack
second
forever?
ability fire, that's another.
No,
Each
I mean, like,
ability
if
has
I
its
use my
own
one and
independent
then come
stacks.
back later, use my one later, does the
No, it's
stacks
completely. Yeah, it's going to
Yeah,
reset.
No, it
resets. Each
resets every
instant of
time.
firing
What?
the ability starts
Just
over.
wanted to
So
make sure.
this should, in most cases, do less damage than
This should
Bine
be
Spear
shit.
I just did, but not in all cases, obviously.
damage over the
Penetration
time.
is a complicated
How
calculation.
many
but-
abilities
The
tick
limits of
6
alcohol,
times and then
feedback,
tick
flavor
an
again, helping
additional
with,
more
spreadsheet
times after
damage.
6?
It is definitely going to be doing a lot less damage than Spirit of Magus' previous iteration for the flat pen, but it should be more consistent, and like we said, it should be more obvious to tell where it's coming
And you
from.
can build it into more interesting builds
And
with
he
other types
doesn't
of
tick
penetration in
6
this new world,
times
and who
plus
knows.
more.
Which is actually why we gave it a little bit of power
Merlin doesn't
extra.
tick
Okay,
6
let's go for a
times
couple
plus
more now.
more.
The main spear
Anubis
and
ult
penetration
ticks
items
6
have changed.
times
Choosing
plus
my guy,
more.
they're going to be losing their 10 magical penetration, but they're going to be coming down in cost and increasing
Apwash
magical
ult maybe?
power. Not only
Merlin's
the
one
shoes of
doesn't
Magi,
tick
though, the
6
shoes of
times and then keep
Focus,
ticking
they're gonna see a
afterwards.
cost increase ever so slightly as well to kind of match to make sure these boots are both viable, right?
Nah, I
I'm
think
doing your
Spirit
job
of
for
Magus
you
is about
'cause
to be
we've been
doo-doo,
here.
Well, there
bro.
was a lot of concern that losing penetration would really just make Shoes of the Magi just unusable.
Yeah.
We think when people actually try all these items together, they will see that there's
It's
a
the
lot
same
of benefits
ability,
in going this
and
high
it only
power,
buffs
and
the
not every
same
god really
used
needs all the
ability.
cooldown and
One-
mana.
So it
One
would
main note
only
on that
work
as well
on
is that
Anubis
lane
ult.
minions have very, very low
Maybe a
magical
tick of
protections,
Kukulkan 3.
so that penetration was actually not helping you with the clear that much. This
Okay.
extra power is going to show noticeable increases of damage on
yeah,
the
trash.
yes.
Away
You can get
Quicker
some
wave clever.
really good pressure plays off of rushing this, and if you go cooldown, you might be at a loss because of that.
So that's Shoes of Focus. Pythagorean's piece is next on the list. They've added 10% magical penetration to this, but at the cost of 10% cooldown reduction. So no 10% cooldown reduction on this. It's got magical penetration instead. Typhon's Fang is going to have added magical penetration to that item, but it's going to have a decreased magical power effect on that to sway the difference. Soul Reaver, we're going to see an
only
increased cost of
70
Soul
power?
Reaver. But there's a reason why. It's because it's going to have 10% magical penetration added to it and a
There was
slight
20
decrease
power,
in magical
wow.
power here. Because it's still going to have the effect anyway of the percent health.
They're
Yep.
really.
Yep. So
it's
let's
'cause
go through
pen,
this whole
dude.
section and then
Pen
we'll
is
talk a little
nuts.
bit
Yeah,
about
we will.
why we've made these
Staff
adjustments.
of Murden, next up, added 10% magical penetration, but decreased the magical power of this item to compensate. Sorcerer's Staff, the Warlock Staff, which we may have to go a little bit more in detail about for a second. We're going to be reducing the Sorcerer's Staff base health amount. However, Warlock Staff is going through some changes here. What's the goal with Warlock Staff, boys?
It's been an item that has traditionally been the like dictated how tanky mages are and really dictated a meta, or has just not been built in favor of other high-power choices. And that's just because of the combination, similar to almost Mystical Mill, where like the combination of the defensive stats it provided, along with like the power that it had, made it this item that like once it was like
gives you
seen as
no
viable, it was the
health
go-to
now.
path.
Yeah.
And we're pivoting it much more towards power-oriented. It will have a little bit of defensive stats to help you, so you'll be tankier for building it, but it's much more focused on the power this time.
Gives
so
you
when you
way
build
more,
it, you're not an
25 more
unstoppable
power.
beast walking forward into the enemy team.
225
so it's
less
gonna have
health.
added, Warlock Staff is going to have 10% magical penetration, a reduced base health, but we've adjusted the passive so you get different stack amounts. It's going to be 1 health and 1 magical power per stack, and that caps out at 75 stacks for 75 health and 75 magical power. So the evolved Warlock Staff, due to all the changes going on with Warlock Staff, the final evolved Warlock Staff will now read 140 magical power, 225 health, 200 mana, and 10% magical penetration.
Right. So as we
That's an interesting
changed magical
staff.
percent penetration, we tried to
140
reallocate it to
power,
a bunch
bro.
of different items that have specifically different
Fuck,
roles.
you're gonna be able to get a lot of
Right.
power.
The goal is that we want
Mages are gonna be scary.
mages to be able to itemize into their penetration and have an interesting selection of items to
Hold on,
combine
Kevin.
to reach the amount of penetration they feel like they need for that match. So Obsidian Shard and Charon's Coin are the high penetration items. They have 20%. They're the only two. All the rest of these have 10. Pythagorean's Piece is the support team-oriented item. So this is to help your team. It's got a very powerful aura, but also gives you penetration. Whereas Warlock Staff is the selfish tanky item that also gives penetration. Typhon's Fang is the lifesteal penetration item. And Soul Reaver was the one that was already kind of used for tank shredding
Right.
because of the bonus damage, so it felt silly to
Soul
not
Reaver
give
is gonna
it
get
its
purchased,
penetration.
I
So
feel
that
like,
is
no
another
matter
like
what.
that's your kind of
So you're getting
another
10 of the Soul Reaver
high
as usual.
penetration.
Put it around, have some core ones that may give 20% that are a bit more viable to multiple option builds, but then some that are specific to different options.
Right,
Okay.
and then Staff of Mirrodin is your
Wait, what did
crazy
Boots give?
passive category.
Sorry, I
is that a
just
category?
What did
Do
Boots
people
give?
seek out
Nothing?
crazy passive items? Or you could just say it's a traditional
They
power
remove
option.
pen off boots.
So just power and
So your
power.
first pen
So,
item
you know, a
is
lot of
going
these
to
changes
be-
make these items stronger.
Ooh.
The only one that we've seen maybe some debate on is Pythagorean's Piece. Obviously, there was a lot of community reaction to the blog post there. Pythagorean's Piece has been OP
Yeah, it's
for like a whole
40%
year,
cap.
so catch up, everyone, please.
And not
We
on
are
support side.
very okay
This
with.
item a little while ago.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying do not change this item, but the pros have been asking us to change this item pretty much nonstop
They just
for
wanted to, like,
months.
heavy nerf it as well.
This is this is an
not
item that is
bro,
like
but it-
rush on Chronos.
If you
and
go
it's
Warlock
great.
Staff now,
So this item needed a little shift. We like this change. We think this
Warlock
is
Staff
gonna
would
be
be
good
pretty
and healthy for the
good,
game.
right? Like boots into Warlock Staff, you
Anything
get
else to
pen,
say about
health, power.
those items?
I think that was basically it.
So really what this
You're
will let
already
you
getting
do
more power
like, is
from
make your
boots.
mage build really flexible. If you need to get into lifesteal and penetration, all of a sudden you realize, okay, there's an option for that.
Right.
You know, if I need to get into, I need some health and some penetration, there's an option for that. So this way we allow you to do a
It's
lot of different
75
decision making
stacks.
instead of
If
just
you
going,
get that
nope,
early,
Obsidian
it's not a
Shard,
lot
bye.
of stars.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
just
feel
need this one
pigeonholed.
item, and then my pen's good, I can move on. Well, moving on now as well from penetration, we're going to talk a little bit about magical power real quick. A lot of items going to be have been given additional magical power. And I think this is some of the compensation for the penetration that we've
Right.
seen changes there, right?
Right.
Losing some flat pen, especially on the shoes as well as the Spear of Magus,
Yeah.
we wanted to add a little bit of power on a couple of key items.
To
that's
help
what we
out
did
a little
here.
bit more. So here we go with the list of these. These are the increased magical power. Increased magical
Okay.
power for the following items.
The
Spirit
Spear
of
Desert is still gonna
Desolation,
have flat
Rod of
pen.
Tahuti, Soul Gem, Polynomicon, and Telkine's Ring.
Ooh, Soul Gem is
going
gonna be
to have a
sick.
decreased cost, but it's also going to have increased magical power to make that a little bit more attractive. Restored Artifact. We're going to be decreasing the price of Restored Artifact. The price of the tier 3 items will remain the same in the tree, but we're also going to be increasing the magical power. So Restored Artifact's going to be a little bit more potent now.
And potentially interesting start if you want to rush that instead of book.
1400, you could start the game.
It's very lackluster compared to a couple of the other
for
tier
sure.
mage items.
Yeah,
As a
Chronos
tier 2,
Pendant
Enchanted Ring
Restored
now gives
Artifact
you
will now
attack
be a
speed,
serious
Luminous
contender
power.
in the mage trees.
Yep.
Enchanted Ring, we're going to be adding 10% attack speed to this item and decreasing it by 5 magical power.
Tier 2, the ring tree.
Make sure it's got a little bit of attack speed in it now, as we were discussing. Demonic Grip, we're going to be decreasing the passive magical protection reduction per stack. It was very potent of an item, and it's going to be toned down a little bit here.
Yeah, we're just kind of discussing the power of what Percent Pen brings.
Yeah.
We've seen Demonic Grip be really core. Later on, we've also seen Execution be
Mages
really
are
core.
gonna have
These
some
items are just very
fucking-
effective what they do.
You're
They
gonna
bring
see
a lot
some
of
build
power to the
changes in
table.
Mages.
We're
I think
tuning
it's
them
gonna
back
remind you of,
slightly
like,
to
Season
better
2.
reflect our understanding of how penetration works, how penetration as a whole should work in Smite. So that's why that's.
So this is kind of jumping us to a new section. That was all the items we just went over. Those were added power. They were generally added about 10 or 15 power. They also had some other cost adjustments. Next, we're moving into Demonic Grip, which, as we were applying penetration, this isn't quite applied the same way as Obsidian or Spear was. And in most cases, it was relatively healthy. But mage ADCs are getting a lot of other tools this season. And we want to be careful with just penetration as a whole. So we're going to see a slight nerf here, and we're going to see similar changes to Executioner
Yeah, this
later.
is percent reduction, like you were saying. This does not go with the 40% cap.
Yeah,
That's one
also
of the main
good to
reasons
know.
we want to be careful.
And similarly
What's up,
with
Zavi?
these changes as we move towards our next item, one of the other main problems we're solving in Smite, which is something that people have debated for years, is the amount of damage that Guardians can output, especially in the early game.
Nerf them.
We all know that pen boots were really
No.
the key to that.
No, they were
this
not.
other item that we're about to go
No,
into is
they
the
were
other
not.
key. So I just want to reiterate
These were not
just
the key to
goals
that.
for
It's their
Smite
base
as a
stats.
whole.
Hey,
We
Jax,
want
come
our
on, man.
Guardians to be able to be impactful, to be able to deal damage, but that has reached some levels of extreme that are causing some negative gameplay recently. So we're toning that down a little bit. We're not trying to turn all of our supports into, Yamoja type, or no, even Yamoja does damage, right? Who's the least damaging Guardian? Geb, maybe? I mean, if you don't build him. But we're not trying to turn all of our Guardians into that, but we are trying to tone down some of these very strange, hyper-aggressive builds you could do. So
Wardstone reworks the passive of Wardstone. Enemy gods within 55 units have magical protection reduced by 5%. Is what that's going to be. So it's going to make a bit of a difference there. And Voidstone increase the magical power of this item, but rework the passive. Enemy gods within 55 units have their magical protection reduced by 10%. These do stack, I guess, with the normal penetration items in the game.
So things that affect enemies don't contribute to your
Yeah,
stat.
so this is gonna be an
So
OP
yeah,
item.
these go.
for late game.
You can theoretically go above the percent
Voidstone,
penetration
and it has
cap with
increased
these.
power.
And these also, though, these are
Voidstone
pivoted
should be
away. So
sick late game then.
flat
What the
penetration
fuck?
on Guardians is their biggest damage boost. Now they can't get that early flat pen.
Yeah, they
so
lose.
this is actually
This does
gonna
nerf
be
them
better
early.
late game. It's going to be better against
Nerf
other Guardians instead of other squishies,
them.
and it's going to be better for your team as opposed to just using Bacchus as an assassin.
But this
Finally,
would
on
be
the
a good
magical
item to
side
have
of
in
things,
team
we've
fights
got
late
Stone
game.
of Binding. We're going to decrease the physical and magical reduction, is what I've got written down here. It's going to go from 15 to 10.
So that is the protection
Ooh, what's this
changes.
new
This
item?
is just a
I'm
small
peeking.
nerf on that item.
Yes.
This item's been really strong. We've seen it pop up in SPL a few times. It's still a unique case. It's a bridge item. So it's not going to be undergoing the exact same changes as a lot of these penetrations, but we want to also
Caduceus
just hit
Shield.
that penetration
I
nerf
wish.
just slightly here, just to be safe.
I'm sick of magical stuff. Can we talk about physical for a while?
We are.
Let's
We
talk
are.
about
We are
physicals.
there.
There's
We've
more
made it.
physicals in
Let's
the
get
game.
physical.
Those
get
really, we
physical,
felt like
boys.
all
The
those
good
additional
shit.
changes for magical were
The good
necessary
shit.
because of the sort of
Caduceus.
ripple effect based on targeting these key 2 items. We set a goal
Caduceus.
to ourselves to only
I'm out.
adjust magical items. That we
Watch
felt
it literally be like a I'm out
to do
shield.
the minimum number of changes we would need to
You gain
achieve this.
500% movement speed for 2
That's it for
seconds.
the magical
But
section.
it's
Upon
still a
reaching
lot.
10%
Time to go
out.
to the physical
Still a
section.
lot.
What's the
Deuces.
goals with physical, real quick? We're going to speed this up a little bit, but what are the main focal points for the physical side? Obviously, we talked a lot about magical recently.
There's going to be some penetration lessons learned that we're going to be applying to a few items here, but it's not going to be such a widespread thing because physical and magical damage is
looks
applied
good.
very differently
And
in many
like
different
the-
scenarios. And as Paul
Logo,
mentioned at the beginning
emblem.
of the day, we'll be looking to add some new items and looking to breathe new life into items that people previously have seen as unviable and possibly nerf some of the absolute top of the meta items as well.
Okay,
Bottom
let's go
up,
for
top
it.
down.
We'll start things off
Under Nerf
with a
Heartseeker then.
brand new item in the game. Caduceus Shield.
It is
Did I
Caduceus.
say that right? Caduceus? Caduceus?
Caduceus.
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 So
Nah,
Caduceus is probably more
calling it
proper,
Caduceus
but
forever.
no one's going to say that because
Okay.
that's not how we say it.
So this new shield coming to the game that they like to put words in that
Oh,
just make
it's
it
a
tricky all the time.
tanky shield.
It's going to cost 2,500 gold. It's 30 physical power, 35 physical protection,
That's a lot of
35
stats.
magical protection,
fuck.
100 health, and have an aura. The aura reads, allied gods within 70 units of you have their healing increased by 10%. If you have taken or dealt damage in the last 5 seconds, their healing is increased by an additional 15%. This aura does not stack with Rod of Asclepius. It's physical Rod of Asclepius, though.
Yay! People have been asking for this for a long time. You can also build this to buff other gods' healing.
Right.
It's not just yours, so you can use
Does
this
it
as an
stack with
item,
Rod
or
of
you can use this
Asclepius?
on Guan Yu, perhaps the premier physical healer.
But a run of
Horus
Asclepius is
as well.
magical, right? So
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
it.
does
That's
it-
one of
does the
new
aura
items for this.
stack?
We've also got another new Cursed Blade. Toxic Blade and Witch Blade have now build off of Cursed Blade, allowing players to smoothly transition
doesn't
into these
stack,
items
okay.
with stats they are
That would
going
be
for.
fucking
And that's going to
nuts.
cost 1,250 gold, have 75 health,
insane.
10% attack speed, and 5% movement speed in this. And that's going to have Witch Blade and Toxic Blade in there. That's really nice.
exactly.
Cool.
It's going to make those items just. A lot of people didn't like itemizing into those because they felt like the
The movement
support
speed's pretty
versus
sick.
aggressive split within
yeah,
the
this would be
street
a cool tier 2.
didn't feel right. So now there really is a tier 2 to
tier 2
help
to that.
signify
That
the
is-
direction you're
that's-
going. Yeah.
Small, but it's nice.
Because I kind of like to sit at that tier 2 and go, which one am I going to
yeah.
get?
No,
Which
I know.
one is
We've
good?
all felt it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that wing blade, but
Yeah, the wing blade sometimes. Relic dagger is really useful too.
Oh, yeah.
Gladiator's shield next up though. Bit of discussion about this one.
Nerf it!
Rework the passive from only triggering once per ability.
no. Let's
It will
only
still-
triggering
proper
Yeah.
proper text. So it right now in live, I hit 3 gods
Yep.
and I heal 3 times
Yep.
for the amount listed.
Well, that's not going to
So
happen.
once per god per ability is what that text is.
I knew what it meant. It just didn't read that way.
Yeah.
To subsequent heal. So the first person you hit with an ability, you'll get the full heal off Gladiator Shield. Additional people hit by this. Subsequent heals after the first from a single ability only heal for 50%.
Right.
So a bit more, less sustained in this. King Arthur is going to be affected by this. Right.
So Gladiator Shield has had certain gods who can use it especially well, especially when hitting multiple targets. So now those gods are going to.
Oh,
get
so
reduced
even on
healing in those
creeps, it's gonna do
situations.
reduced
It's
healing?
not going. This change is not going to affect the 1v1 solo lane scenario.
Right.
Because you're only hitting one target most
Oh.
of the time. But if you are hitting multiple targets, you won't be healing as much as you did last season.
So team fights, it won't give you as much sustain.
Correct.
That's what we're really talking about here. Next up after that is
Wait, yeah,
Void
shouldn't
Shield.
that-
We're going to see
Oh, it doesn't heal
increased
off creeps, that's
physical
right. It's fucking
protection
Glad
on
Shield.
this. And we've also
Okay,
been
so that's
reworking the
kind of
passive.
a
It
I
used to be
guess, an
enemy gods
okay
within
nerf.
55 units if you have their physical protection reduced by 20. Instead, it's going to be enemy gods within 55 units if you
Ooh.
have their physical protection reduced by 15%.
All the percentage
so
changes are
Percentage now
wild,
rather than
bro.
flat.
Yeah, this is basically the Void Stone change, just for warriors instead. Warriors could often build this and just be very hard to deal with.
In most cases, it will be a nerf.
Next up is Spiked Shield. We're going to be reworking the passive of this. It was
Oh,
reduced
Silver
physical
Branch.
protection from 55 to 8.
Ooh, you guys see
It's
that?
now, so 55
Look
units
at it.
by 8. It's going to
Oh,
now
whoa,
reduce
whoa,
the
whoa,
physical
whoa.
protection
You guys
of
can't
enemies
see
within
yet.
55
Relax.
units by
Calm down.
5%. Part of the same tree.
We don't care about
Makes
this.
sense.
We care about this.
Silver Branch Bow. Increase the power provided from the passive of this to make this a little bit more attractive. It's going to go up to 1.5. Executioner
peek. I didn't peek.
is decreased passive physical protection.
Wait, where's Executioner?
reduction.
Oh, we gotta skip. We gotta skip.
Wow,
Oh,
we
it's
nerfed
they didn't do any.
Executioner. When did that's been buffed? I think it got buffed in like 3
The
and
nerfing
4.
it? Exy, fuck hunters.
Because the hunter class
Fuck them
as a
all.
whole,
Fuck
we wanted to
guardians.
make sure
Fuck
felt
warriors. Fuck
strong.
hunters. Just
Now we don't
mages
care
and
about
junglers.
They've
Yeah.
been doing pretty well, and we expect going into the next season that with the way lanes are positioning, they'll continue to do that. So we're doing a small nerf here just to fit in line with the way we're adjusting penetration across the board.
Makes sense. Warrior's Bane also on this list. Decreased passive % physical protection reduction.
That's
It's
the
gonna
tier
be
2 of Titan's Bane.
Decreased, it said there, yeah, just to make sure. Decreased of Warrior's Bane. And then Titan's Bane, we're going to also be decreasing the base physical protection reduction and decreasing the max physical protection reduction. So it's going to take a bit of a knock to the penetration.
Am I
of the
wrong
physicals
here, or are
You can't
tanks just gonna
catch
be
everything just as one item then?
More
Right.
annoying
Same
in the
sort of
mid
thing.
game and then get
Hydra's
fucked
Lament,
late game still.
Decreased additional damage after basic attacks. I think it's going from 50% to around 40% for a change
Bane.
there. Poison Star is going to have an increased physical power element added to this,
What?
just to
They
give it a
nerfed
little bit more
Hydras?
potency in terms of 10 extra power.
Give
Wind
Poison Star
Demon,
power?
we're going to increase the amount of attack speed on this item a little bit to make that a bit more attractive. Malice is now going to have 10% CDR added to it. Interesting. Why?
It's the kind of like crit ability user item where you want it for cooldown reduction. Just make sure that it's baseline functionality when you're not utilizing the passive is still impactful and still
So
makes the item
all the
worthwhile.
fun crit builds just got more
The
fun.
attractiveness of it. If you're going to use an ability to get the passive anyway, then
Yes.
you're going to want this. Soul Eater is the final thing I've got on the physical list so far. When this item evolves,
Merc's about
it
to
now
have, like,
provides an
max
additional
CDR.
5% lifesteal in addition to the physical power and the ability lifesteal effect.
Whew, bunch of changes there. So the
More
exciting
lifesteal.
stuff. I mean, it's all exciting, but the most
they
notable
didn't
things that we
talk
didn't talk
about
about: Silver Branch
Branch.
Bow getting a pretty interesting buff for the passive. So that could be a potentially large power buff, and that item already provides quite a combination of stats.
That- you can
So
get
we
like
expect to see some more hunters
110
picking that up.
with somebody who has a
Hydra's Lament
tap and
nerf.
high
That is
speed,
the
right?
kind of key assassin nerf for the whole patch.
Yeah, it's
a lot of our
fuck you.
assassins who are overperforming right now. And even some
All
warriors
assassins
playing
use
as,
Hydras.
playing as junglers, Achilles, who's getting his own nerf, but they tend to
nerf and
use this
Achilles.
item extremely effectively. So this is effectively the Susanoo, Achilles, Thanatos nerf for the update.
This is interesting.
You saw a bunch of
Sorry, so
buffs
far.
to some crit items that aren't used as often, which should be good for hunters as well as certain
bro.
assassins.
Malice.
And yeah, so we
No
want to make
more
sure that crit
rage.
becomes more viable. Option. It
Malice.
really has like feel like no one's built crit like all year. It's
With
pretty
Fail
rare.
Not Survival, there's you see it
Fail
in a
Not
couple of
Survival.
different
But even that, like, that fell out of favor relatively quickly after the item came
you
out.
need the support to make fail not worthwhile, and stuff like Wind Demon is like the stat stick that you really would want for that.
Yeah,
for a lot
so
of these gods, they may not use Fail Not's passive
Yeah.
that well. So.
hunters tend to be some of the hardest classes to get build diversity in because people kind of find working builds and go for it. This is our attempt to bring some other items into the mix. And of course, as we go forward with the new season, we didn't want to adjust like things like Transcendence and Devourer's Gauntlets with the new map.
Right.
So we want to see how hunters are playing out on the new map first, and then we'll look into adjusting those in future patches.
Okay, good to know for you all at home then. Masks is the final thing I've got in terms of items for this patch to go over. We're going to start off with Lono's Mask. It's going to have decreased damage dealt, decreased healing done. That's the two things that are going to be on here.
Yeah, so the wording's there is a little bit
It's
weird, right? 'Cause
increased,
it's
actually.
Decreased the reduction of damage dealt from
I should
negative
have written that
25% to
Yeah.
negative 20%.
So it's buffed.
Yeah,
It looks like
it's a
nerf.
stronger
Doesn't
item.
look like
for
nerf.
each
They got
right?
buffed.
Yes, they're
So
buffed.
Lono's Mask was nerfed.
It now does you do
Because of
5%
some
more
interesting
damage than you
applications,
did
but
before,
now we're trying to
and
walk
you
that
do
back a little
5%
bit,
more
make sure
healing
that it
than you did
has-
before.
Make sure it has a place in the meta. The masks have all fallen off, so these are generally buffs. Well, Lono's Mask is a buff, but Rangda's Mask is a change due to penetrations.
Stop jumping ahead. Fighter's Mask. We're on to next.
Why?
Thank you very
Yeah, Fighter's Mask is just tier 2 of Rangda's Mask. I like to talk about those as one discussion.
telling
Leader
all
man.
of this stuff that we're
I think
going
when you go
Okay.
all into those side tangents, we get confused.
They removed the pen.
I go into side tangents.
Hindu.
Yeah,
Tier 2 has no pen.
Okay, let's
Oh,
go on
it's
to the
flat
real
pen,
patch note
duh.
show. So Lono's Mask we've already discussed. Fighter's Mask, remove 10 penetration, increase physical power, increase magical power. Rangdal's Mask, remove 15 penetration.
But it's just
increase
power?
physical power, increase magical power.
There
God
you
balance, Odin. Oh no.
No, don't go
Yeah,
that far.
don't play games with me, sunshine.
I'm sorry.
Say
So
hi.
Rangdas and Fighters together are losing their flat pen because part of our pass with Magical, we didn't want this
it's just
to be
power
like
on
the,
Rangdas now?
Aha, we got you. We're going to buy too much flat pen anyway.
the passive that
And
gets
same
you
for
fucked?
Guardians. So this is losing their flat pen and instead just gaining more power. Of course, when you buy the Fighters or the final Rangdas, you'll get that power or that damage percent increase, which is still
works
pretty.
well with power.
Which works really well with power, right? That's very interesting. So, but we're just avoiding this penetration because this would break down some of our other changes in the patch.
So a little touch towards these masks to just try and make them a little bit more attractive at the same time as adjust based off the penetration change.
Correct.
Makes a lot of sense. See how quick that was?
Thank you.
See how long it took him?
I'm sorry.
Don't try and talk to me about who takes long.
Leave it to the-
Goodness
leave it to
me.
the master.
Right. God time.
Yes.
Let's move on to reworks.
I
We're
know.
almost
All right.
near the end.
How did I do the
Are you ready for the numbers?
How did we
Stream?
do?
Huh?
How did we survive?
I
that?
was in like a weird comatose state as I
Yeah.
just did that show. It was
Yeah.
like some sort of weird trance that I just went into, and I was like, it's over. But hey, I'm in a trance now. Let's talk about reworks. A lot of these have already been talked about a little bit and discussed with you all in the community. We're going to go into Odin first of all and start off with a little look at Odin and the rework to him. Goals. What was the major goal with this change to Odin and the rework status?
Really, the blog post said it all.
Right.
We have a new rework methodology we try to follow. It's the way we identify and the way we go about doing reworks. We're trying really hard to keep the gods' kits intact as much as possible while adding new interesting thematic and gameplay elements to theirs. So for Odin, we kind of determined that the bird bomb combo was indeed an important and iconic part of his kit, and changing it would make him feel like a considerably different character. So those abilities are staying the same. However, ability 3 is getting a completely new rework with a completely new ability, and Ring of Spears is being heavily adjusted to meet some new goals.
I will have a look at all of these now. So Gungnir's Might, first of all, the full ability we
Ability
work
3.
is Odin's begins empowering Gungnir with a runic magic, becoming immune to knockback. He's immune to knockbacks in this?
He is. He's not going. Most long channels are in the solo lane are immune to
Okay.
knockback.
Does this
or they
pulse
can be
3
countered
times?
so super easily.
Every 0.7 seconds, Gungnir charges runes, and Odin pulses out damage
Changes
around,
runes.
slowing enemies for 2 seconds.
This
When
is
Odin
history.
releases Gungnir, it travels forward, damaging enemies and stopping on the first god hit. The first rune causes allies around Odin to gain attack speed for 3 seconds. The second allows Gungnir to home onto enemy gods. The last
So it
rune
hits
allows
3
Gungnir
times.
to stun.
It pulses 3 times really
You
fast.
can see here as the ability is fired, there's a 1, 2, 3 pulse. And as each pulse happens, the effect of throwing the spear will change. So you just saw that was the quick fire.
Yep.
You saw the attack speed
Second
buff.
one.
That was the second one, and now we'll do the third one. 1,
stun.
2, 3. And you can hold the third one.
Indefinitely.
You can hold that indefinitely. You can just run around ready to stun people.
Just have
Hold
that
on.
spear ready to yeet it.
Hold
yeah.
on.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be
Hold
a
on.
range on that too. So he's going to range stun on Odin.
The range is
gave
not
Odin a
that
range
long.
stun.
We did indeed.
And then he can bird bomb me off the back of that.
He sure can.
That sounds like a really
It sounds
good
like a pretty
combo.
good combo, yeah.
Okay.
You can see that stun lasted long enough that the person became unstunned. They can do things to react to the bird bomb.
Right.
So it's not fully guaranteed.
Wait,
Sure. This is a good little setup.
so
which
you're
I'm sure
telling
one of the
me
things you
his
can struggle
3
with a little
can
bit.
do
So people can look at the numbers themselves on the patch. notes.
375
Interesting ones, but
and
this does a
scaling.
lot of cool things. So it gets the similar effect of his old Gungnir's Might by
Throwing it out
pulsing
is
out a damage and
330
slow already.
plus scaling?
So he still retains that, but at the same time we're adding a lot of new decision making to his kit. So the ability to stim nearby
missing
allies for
something
attack
here?
speed, that's really good for sieging objectives or structures. The homing effect can be used when someone is about to flee or you really kind of like trying to kill secure.
And it slows as well on that speed.
And it also can help for some team setup if you need to set up more quickly than firing the stun. And the stun has a lot of interrupt and setup and all sorts of different peel even
This is
mechanics, which gives
90%
Odin really a lot
scaling
more
if you hit
flexibility.
all
And
3
the main
pulses.
complaint with this character is that he was one-dimensional, and we didn't want to remove
Hold on,
his
am I
core
missing
combo.
something?
And so we wanted to make sure we gave him more avenues to impact a fight without
Something's
removing
wrong. That doesn't
anything.
make sense.
So that's where we ended up with this new.
Does it not do
Gungnir's Might.
damage on every
The
pulse?
next thing we'll move on to then is obviously the Ring of Spears, because this is getting a full.
If it does
ability
damage on
rework
every
as
pulse,
well.
that does like
So
1,000.
lots of
It's like a
different
1,000
iterations
damage
and
ability.
layers of giving attack speed, giving anti-heal and different things. But we're going to make some changes here. Pom-Pom, what's the major focus of the change and what's it really going to be?
So the big change here is Odin's ult was very binary. It either won a team fight.
All right, well, his 3 is broken. His 3 might want to be one of the best abilities in the game, next to like Heimdall's fucking ult.
Your ultimate ability and didn't do much. And so we want to make sure that this ability had more use cases that felt like you had more counterplay when you're trapped in it.
I can't
as
wait
well
for
as when someone
PTS,
did
bros.
escape from it, they were a little bit
I'm
punished
about
for it, so
to
it was kind of a
only play
reward
Odin.
for escaping the cage. So what it does is when you use the cage, there's actually now health bars on the side, and each
Oh,
you
that's
can see
cool.
it's in kind of an octagon shape.
Yeah.
You can actually attack those wall fragments to reduce the health and break that fragment of the wall and
Okay.
walk out of it. So if you have no other escape,
5-second
you can
ult
try to
throw.
escape that way.
So kind of like Cabrakan Wall, if you drop that down, you deal damage to it and break it apart a little bit.
Right.
Do you take damage from walking out of there? at all?
420?
Or expansion?
Dude.
So if you,
if you break it down, you can get
if
out.
you break out and walk out
6
that way,
seconds.
no penalty. You
You still get power stacks?
But if you choose to leap out of it
Or
instead,
Phantom out.
or phantom out, you're going to have a spear chasing
Oh,
you.
you
that
got the
damages you
permanent
pretty bad
stacks
for
still.
trying to leave the
Yeah,
cage.
it hurts.
Okay.
I didn't think you were
So
gonna keep
the
the
whole
permanent
idea of
stacks.
this would be
That's
break the
insane.
wall down to leave for safety.
It's still 50
or leap
power.
away and take a ton of damage.
Yo, I'm playing
Really what
Odin
this
every
does
game.
is it makes the wall apply to a much wider range.
You're
of
slowed in it
combat
too, or is that only when you go over the
Like
wall?
Paul mentioned in the beginning.
No, it's only when
Previously,
you go
it
over
pretty
the
much
wall,
was
okay.
an execute for someone, or people would just ignore it. Now there are going to be consequences to whichever way you play against this ability.
Just to remind you all at home as well, you can be.
Bro, they just buffed Odin to shit.
As well. They're already
I
out
thought
on
Odin
the
already had one of the
lookouts,
highest
but
win
if you
rates in other
are,
game modes.
Enemies inside the ring still cannot heal.
I'm pretty sure
Odin's
Odin's the
immune to
best god in the
some
game right now.
effects while in his ring, and a portion of the wall can be destroyed with hit by 5 basic attacks. Enemies that leave the ring over the wall are chased by the spear and will be slowed after the damage.
And the breaking out is very interesting, as we've even seen recently with like Persephone. Some teams really struggle to break their teammates out of things, so it might seem like this is a
I'm
bit
pretty
of a
sure
nerf
Odin's the best guy in the
because
game.
we've allowed you to escape
if the numbers they gave us are correct,
that's a pretty considerable time
Odin is the
investment
best.
to
Look
make
at
your
this shit.
team have to hit a certain, and you have to hit the same
this is
aspect of the wall 5 times,
375
right? If you're
damage
hitting
plus
one
90%
piece of the wall, not hitting
scaling,
another piece, those
and
would
then
have each of their
another
own hit
330
points.
plus 75% scaling on one ability.
Doing the channel
So this is over 1,000 damage late game, like 11, 1,200 damage late game.
And you realize you're not going to be able to break the wall in time. You leap out. He's going to leap after you.
Ult doing another 600 damage.
So he has a lot of opportunities
if you
to play
take the
off
damage
whatever
from
decision you make, but you do have control while you're in the cage to actually make a choice about how you want to try and deal with this.
And it feels so good to be Odin and go
Yeah,
cage. So
5
one of them is
basics
like,
kills
I'm just
a
gonna
wall,
leap out, and you go
which is
watch
actually
that
a lot.
homing spear just go.
Like Persephone ult.
Aggro Merlin blinked out of it and died. And I was like,
Yeah, that's without Bird Bomb.
That's
great.
what you get. He got what he deserved. That's what it's meant to be.
Well, that's it.
Sorry,
Bro, imagine you pre-proc
It's
your.
not a free escape anymore.
Well, you
No,
can't
it's
pre-proc
not.
your
It's gonna be
3,
a bit
can
more
you?
tricky to play around the Odin. A little bit more of those ringer spears.
If you can
see how
pre-proc
Odin
your
works in the
3
PTSD
on Odin,
lore. Next up is
and then jump on
Bastet.
somebody in 3 instantly.
Obviously, a lot of people seem excited about this. This is the scarier one for me from reading through what I saw you guys post up
comes,
about.
boys.
Major focus for Bastet. What was it?
Mostly her ultimate. Her ultimate had similar problems as Odin's. It was an execute or it did nothing. We were trying to adjust her kit so that she has a more control over her own damage output and more impact on a team fight. And the way we were going to accomplish that is by relocating her cats to her ability 3. So now she can just send a cat all the time, and her ultimate is a completely new ultimate. So now her ability 3 line attack can send a cat. It has a normal cooldown.
Okay.
It's
got health.
the cat.
There's still a lot of changes. It
Wait,
has
where's
2
the
basic
scent? Where's the
attacks worth of
passive?
health, so it's no longer going to have that like scaling health pool.
Why
So
can't
2
we
basic
see the
attacks
passive?
to get the cat off of you? It roots if the cat charge hits you, which is pretty important as well.
Okay. How many cats can you have down at once? I know there's cooldown involved,
on the
obviously,
cooldown, it
right?
depends
But
I want to see the passive.
not one's going to despawn or anything if I have too many on the map or anything like that. Right?
Nope.
I think there is probably a maximum amount, but more than you'd ever see in a normal circumstance.
So just to walk through these real quick on Bastet then. The passive, first of all, you saw there, it's got a bit of a change there. Tracking scent. When Bastet hits an enemy, she marks the target for a brief time. Marked targets leave behind
It's
the
quiet
scent trail,
because they're talking.
And Bastet can follow them, gaining movement speed while in the scent trail. That's an interesting one. So through the jungle, you can kind of chase people down a little
I
bit.
see the red
Yes, it
aura,
can
but
let
there's
you
supposed to be
see
something on
where
the
people are
ground, I
passing through
thought.
the jungle, and it can help you chase down people.
Because there's a scent
Key other
trail.
thing
It's supposed to be
is
something
it
on the
removes
ground.
a bunch of just damage from her kit.
Right.
Which previously her passive was just like, oh, I'm gonna do more damage.
Damage
on top of damage. That was among other problems with this kit. So in order to give her a better ultimate and more team fight presence, we had to trim out some
they
damage
did
somewhere.
reduce
So this is the key
Bastet's
place where
damage
she's
on
losing
passive.
it
I
because
didn't
she's
think about
gaining a
that.
lot of it in the other parts of the kit as you'll see forward as we go forward.
So that's it for the passive. We move on then to Declaw, the first full ability rework. The new name is Ensnaring Claw. Bastet sends a cat forward, as you've seen. The cat finds an enemy, it snares them, damaging them and briefly rooting them. The cat persists for 4 seconds or until defeated. Continue to attack nearby enemies. The cat's attack will apply a 2-second slow. So it's a route into a slow. Correct. And if Guardians of Bast is active, she will command her Guardians to also charge forward. Okay, we'll look at the ultimate then in a second, because this is the next thing that's been changed, because obviously if the cat's now on the 3, then what's on the ultimate? And
more
it's
cats.
3 does like
super
no
stim, from what I
damage.
But
understand.
different cats. Exactly, it is a super stim. So she summons these Guardians of Bast, which are these more celestial spectral cats.
Yeah, the sort of ones that you see positioned on pyramids.
Holy.
Right,
Yes, like a
that little
sphinx.
sphinx pose.
That's what I meant. Now this is basically going to empower all your other abilities, from what I understand.
Correct.
So
For the duration, all of your other
This is
abilities
scary.
look pretty
So
interesting.
each ability gains additional
What?
hit areas.
that's huge.
So just pull up that targeter and bring it a little closer to you so we can see
Exactly.
that shape
Agony bombs
properly.
coming my way. Think
Yeah.
it is.
Holy.
And
So there's
all of
one
these
perfect
bonus
spot, though.
areas deal bonus damage equal to the rank.
There's
of
one
the
perfect
ultimate.
spot.
So as you
though.
rank up the ultimate, those
hit
additional
him in the
areas will do
eye.
additional damage. So at rank 5, you'll do full damage on the main circle from Bastet, and then 50% for each of them. So up to 2 times damage if you hit with the perfect sweet spot.
You're even 3 times now.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And you can shoot 3 cats.
So
The important thing to remember as well is that
Bastet
that
lost a
reduced
lot of
is per
damage.
source, So you have each cat,
When your
so there's
ult's
2
not
cats,
up.
and BASTET. If you just hit from one source, so it's just the cat to the left, you're going to be doing 100% of the damage with that cat.
But when your
and
ult's
each
up,
extra source will
you
add
do
extra
a
bonus damage.
fucking
So
shit
you
ton
can
of
miss
damage.
with your cat pounce, but hit with your Guardian's cat pounce, and that'll still deal 100% of the damage.
Okay,
Right, right.
I
It
don't
just,
think you can
yeah.
miss with that pounce. If you're missing with that pounce and that ultimate,
You're going to hit with something.
If you
that's
hit
for
that
sure.
sweet spot, though, it's going to
So what this does is let Bastet hit a lot more enemies, which is good for her team fight. She's normally had
How long
been
does it
described as
last?
having really bad
12
team
seconds.
fight. So now she can actually pounce in and kind of spread out the damage. She can also use these cats to root people. which
Bastet without
previously
her
she had
ult, I
no
feel like
CC
is gonna be
except
pretty
a
meh.
slight
But
slow.
Bastet with the ult
So now
is
she
gonna
can
be
root, or
fucking
you can even root
insane.
multiple targets if
Bro, your
enemies are
3
very
is
close
nuts.
together when you drop the cast. So more damage in a bigger area for both Pounce and Razor Whip, and more rooting and more cats.
How long's the stim last for?
12 seconds
So
right
for
now.
12
So
seconds,
you
can
get
power yourself?
200% of your damage.
Obviously,
with
we
your
want
ult.
it to be long enough for her to be able to use her kit. You do not get
So
any
you're
cooldown
one-
changes.
Hold
So
on.
if you 1,
Is
2,
your
3,
100%
and then
scaling?
4, you might not get
So
to use your
Bastet's
ultimate
1 can
at
hit for
all.
1,000 with your ult.
So players need to be careful to use this ability only when her others are off cooldown.
Gotcha.
Bastet's
So the
1
duration
can hit
is
for
relatively long
1,000.
because we do intend Bastet
Bastet's
to try
2
to
can hit
use
for
her
like
abilities in kind of
800.
interesting ways. Cooldown reduction is
Bastet's
obviously
3 can
really
hit for
strong
like
on her
800,
because
no,
you
like
get more
1,000,
cycles
800,
in
900.
during your ultimate. But what this does is gives Bastet more clear
Have enough CDR,
visual
you go through
power
the abilities
plays.
twice.
So you'll be able to see this very obvious stim as effect. Okay, this is when Bastet is going to do a lot more damage, as opposed to previous Bastet.
You're definitely gonna want
which
max CDR
have her
to do
passive
2
and really
rotations of your
relied on
abilities with your ult.
hyper early game snowballing to be successful at all, or she was virtually useless.
Because just
if you
your
didn't do
one,
that.
if you
Now
just
this gives
one
her a lot
in,
more team fight
jump
presence
back, and then
throughout
one
the
in
game,
again,
and a
you
lot
would
more
do like
clear
half
counterplay
of someone's
and clear
health.
visual cues of when you need to be afraid of her.
Excited to see how Bastet works out, guys. Get on the PTS and test it.
I
when
feel
it's
like
available.
shitty
Obviously,
players are gonna get
all
fucked
of
on
this is into the
Bastet, but
PTS, so you get
destroy
to play
kids on
around with it,
Odin.
see what you think, give us feedback. That's it for Bastet. We'll move on then to some of the changes to actual god balance now, not just reworks.
Right.
Top of the shop, Achilles is going to be getting a bit of a nerf here. Radiant Glory, we're going to be decreasing the physical power buff a little bit there, just to try and bring that a little bit more in line, make it a little bit less sloppy.
It's a pretty
6 to 10?
significant
That's a
nerf.
really big, yeah, that's a decent nerf.
So I don't have the numbers on this, so I'm just like, all I see is power reduction, so I'm like, I don't know how
We're
much power is
trying,
power.
yeah, we want to make sure this was a reasonable buff. So it's going to be 4% reduction at all ranks, so from 10 to 14 to 6 to 10.
Right.
Achilles just does a lot of damage.
Yeah, the
right?
go-to combo is you pop this, you blink on top of someone, you auto them, auto them, or you use your 3 to get extra
Plus
ones with
Hydras.
So Hydra's being reduced, this also reducing the amount of damage you would do, which also further reduces Hydras. This should bring that whole combo and that whole kind of playstyle more into line, bring his general power more into line when you're fighting him. You have reasonable expectations that he's going to
that's
do
the
more
only
warrior-like
nerf.
damage when he's
Okay, that's
somewhat
fine.
tanky.
You guys will survive
After
on
Achilles
Achilles.
then, we'll move on to Artemis, who's also going to get a bit of a buff this patch.
Big one.
Suppress
Scaling
the
on the
insolent,
3.
increased physical power scaling. It's going to go from 40% to 60% according to that. So 20% buff there.
Yeah, you know, Artemis, I don't think really she's been in the meta very much at all lately.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure she did what she does best, which is deal damage. And that ability was surprisingly low scaling for any type of hunter ability. That's kind of crazy. So bringing it up to a more reasonable number.
Next up is Baron Samedi. He's also going to be getting a bit of love this patch. Vivid Gaze, we're going to increase the base damage of this ability. It's going to be going from 60 to 240. It's now going to be 80 to 240. So it's more of an early game buff.
It's a very
Early mid.
small early game
Yeah.
buff.
Exactly.
I will now be able to play him mid properly and not have to worry about it.
That's
I'll
the
play my
important
opponents.
thing. So
has played
Baron
mid.
was
That's what I
really
want.
strong at launch. He's been nerfed a good bit. He still can be really good, but players tend to have trouble knowing where to play him. So we're just buffing his core lane clears, early game damage to make sure people understand that he is a viable mid. And I'm telling you from the stats, he should be pretty good after this change.
Oh, yeah.
Well, after Baron, we move on to Cucullin, and he's going to get some love. He's been
I don't
on the
wanna see
meta for a
Baron in the
while,
mid
we
lane,
don't see
but I
too much
kinda
of
do.
Cucullin. He's going to see the Berserk change, increased
like playing
physical
Baron.
power per level buff from this is going to go by 2 to 3, and Spear of Mortal Pain increased the rage gain per god hit. So
that's
the idea of this is
good.
just make him a little bit more transformed.
So you
do a
can
little bit more
ult
damage
in,
overall.
ult, you can
He's
open
really
with your
fallen out.
ult and then turn
he's
in
kind of
to
hard
fucking
to
your
buff
Berserk
because
stance.
of the way his kit multiplies with
This
itself.
is a cool change, I think, right?
But really what we're trying to do here is
After I talk
a
shit
little
about
bit of a
Cucullin.
revert. Like he was getting a lot of power, and that was nerfed. That was kind of when he really dropped off.
Right.
So we're bringing that back a little bit. We also want to give him more control over his rage. So a lot of people who struggle with Cucullin, they struggle to transform at the time where they want. So by increasing this amount that the ultimate gives you, that's going to pretty much guarantee transformations in certain situations, which will be really good.
Okay. Next up is Freya. She's going to be getting a bit of a nerf. I am not surprised.
They had to
So
nerf this because of the
Precision's
item.
Blessing decreases
Because
the
they added a
magical
lifesteal attack
lifesteal
speed item.
effect. That's going to be reduced quite
This
a bit.
doesn't
You can see on the
matter
screen
because
there,
you just go to the
dropping
lifesteal
down
item
a little bit just
right
to make
away.
it not
Early
sustain.
game,
Yes.
Right.
specifically.
And it is
Yeah, for
actually
your first few
similar
levels,
vein of a
but-
nerf we did after her old version before we did the rework, which if you want to go that whole history, you can. But this is the healthier version that's more focused on the early game specifically, that scales back up to the same strength late games as you can be the late game character.
So early game.
Buff
nerf,
and Guan,
late game
boys.
still
Guan jungle, ink.
Okay.
Late game,
got a
pretty
new
terrifying
ring.
still. Most
New
of the time.
ring.
Still Freya.
Yeah.
And the new ring. Guan Yu, next on the list, going to get a bit of a buff
Hey, I
too.
did call the
General
Baron buff.
increase the base attack speed per level and the mana per level.
Just a few
of
patches
this guy.
later.
So it's going to be like 0.9 to 1.2 of the attack speed,
That's
which
it?
I guess will help
I guess
out the
that'll be good
chain
for
as well.
early
Per level,
clearance
yeah,
too,
he's
I
got a
guess.
powerful attack chain, so speeding
This
that
could be
up will
cool
be
for
really
jungling,
important.
He has the
actually.
cleave as well, which
This-
is really important.
Yeah, and the mana. He tends to use mana a lot because he's intended to stay in these battles for a long time, stack his passive, and then get these super abilities. When he runs out of mana, it doesn't feel very good. So.
And Hades is after that with a buff for him as well. The base stats going up, increased health
Base
at
HP.
base level, and also health per level is going up. And then Pillar of Agony outside of the base stats. This ability now provides Hades 10% damage mitigation at all ranks. In
addition to the protection?
games. We're going to keep putting more procs on this.
One simple theme to this change.
How many more procs it needs?
Make Hades tankier. Hades behaves differently from
Holy
other gods in
fuck.
the game, so he should have the stats to back that up. He's not quite a guardian, he's not
You're
quite a
gonna be
mage.
tanky
Now he
as
actually has
fuck
base
with a
stats
lot
that
of
are like right in
HP.
between. He is now tankier than
I don't
every
know if
other
you're
mage,
ganking a Hades
but just
with
under the
Warrior's
base stats of
Blessing
an actual
early game.
guardian
Okay.
as far as health goes. And then we gave him the big protection changes. We provided a lot of math about why that was good. People still didn't believe us.
I stand
So-
by that math. But why not both?
The thing is, though, we're okay with this, and this is why he's getting a small amount.
Small,
We
10%.
think Pillar of Agony is really strong
What
when
the
you use
fuck?
it at a good time and you bait out some
Sure.
of these movement abilities already, or you can use it to
Look at the
burn
next
beads
god.
and Aegis and things like that. But we
Nerf
don't want
him into
Hades
the
just dying during it every
ground.
time. The protections was really huge. We're just adding a little bit of mitigation just to round it out for more scenarios that it's going to be a little more safe. Still be able to focus him down if you really
And
set
we
your
also
team
just
on it.
did pen changes too, which will also impact this
Good
as
point. Good point.
Drop the Kukulkan Tornado as an ulti right over him.
Good thing to note that Hades is criminally underrated by our community, and we're buffing him anyway, but that's because of our perception-based focus. It's been successful, and we're going to do it anyway. So Hades
buffing
might be
him,
the
and then
best
people
god.
complain.
Hades might be the best god in the game after this. But will anyone actually believe me? We'll find out later.
Enough of Hades because he might be the best god in the game, but this one is OP.
Definitely the best god in the game.
Heimdall is getting nerfed. And I think everybody was just waiting patiently for this moment
Yes,
to happen.
they were.
Because I think everybody could agree it needed a little bit of a
Yeah,
touch.
He was really interesting because he actually launched not that strong, and then day 2 stats came in.
Yeah.
He rose. Day 3 stats came in. He was even higher, and by now he's very high up there. So people just had to spend a little bit of time to figure out how he played. But now that they've definitely figured out.
No, it's
how
'cause
to
I
break
created a
him, how to
Heimdall
make him
guide.
really
Now
strong,
everyone
and
knows how to play the
utilize his
god.
kit effectively.
I would say
welcome.
statistically he had the largest change based on learning curve alone.
Yeah, I can see
according
that.
to the whole like the whole player base. Like gods like Arthur, they stayed low, but the Serket's learning curve is so difficult that her stats will be forever low.
True.
Like no one got actually good. Like only very few people get good enough to really
stop playing
influence
her
it.
before you get good at her.
Right, but Heimdall, we literally saw everyone together as a community. All of us were like,
Yeah.
okay, we're kind of bad at Heimdall. Okay, we're getting good at it. Okay, now this god is broken.
Yeah, difficult but learnable.
Definitely, and that's how it felt.
So he's
here's the
getting 3 big
changes.
nerfs.
The Vigilant passive, decreased physical power scaling per stack. Also, Piercing Sight, the first ability, decreased physical power scaling of that. That's coming down by 10%. And Through the Realms, decreased initial hit physical power scaling of the ultimate.
I don't think
believe
this
that's
is
what it
enough.
was.
20% scaling off his ult, 10%
I
off
really
his
don't
wand,
think
and his
this is
passive,
enough.
which affects all of his abilities
Yes.
and his basic attacks.
Yeah, so it affects all his abilities and base attacks. So he's basically getting
I'm not
scaling
sold
nerfs
on
across
this,
the
boys.
board,
Everywhere.
And then
Good.
a targeted scaling nerf at the main combo, which is the ult someone in the sky and then bring Piercing Sight down on them.
Okay, so big nerfs to Heimdall. See how they play out in the PTS. Next up is Isis. She's also going to get a bit of a nerf here as well. It's towards the Wing Gust. We're going to be dropping the damage down a little bit and also decreasing the amount of
Fuck
scaling
you, Isis
of this
players,
ability
you little
too.
bitches.
Major
Fuck.
focus on that for the most
God
part. It's just
damn
the
it.
amount of-
Ever since mid-season,
Hide the word
has been
ISIS.
just insane, right?
Yeah.
But
I think also changes to the silence, the circle of protection, but we need to adjust elsewhere, I guess.
exactly. So what we wanted to do was nerf her, but we didn't want to take those abilities we buffed and make them useless again. Like the point of it was to make her kit feel like all of her abilities were useful. So we buffed all those, but we never took down Wing Gust, which was kind of insane and was carrying the weight for those other bad abilities for years. So now she's been really resilient to that. She's been nerfed like 4 or 5 times already since the midseason. She's been pretty resilient to them. So it was time to just pull out the nerfing her core damage. It was time.
After Isis, we'll move on to Izanami. She's going to get a bit of a buff. We don't see as much Izanami as we expect. So we're going to see a basic attack change here. Increase the return projectile damage. It's going to go up from 25% to 35%, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And also spectral projection. We're going to reduce the cooldown of that. I think that's the second ability, if I remember the names right, of my abilities.
Izanami OP?
Which will just reduce
Jingwei
the
nerfs.
a bit more spammable.
Jingwei going to get nerfed,
This
baby.
is one of the most consistently lowest.
Where's Legend at? He's going to rage.
Pretty much everyone thinks this god is
win
not
rate's
good.
decently high as well.
Her stats are better than her perception, but people think she's really weak.
Tricky
So
style because of the auto attacks and the way they function. I
Yeah,
think.
exactly.
yeah, but
It takes a little
really
bit of
what
getting
she
used to.
does the best is obtain lane pressure, and she's going to be able to do it even better now. So I think Izanami is going to be a real contender come season 7.
Especially with Jingwei nerfs coming out. That's right, I said it. Jingwei getting some nerfs. Agility, first of all. Decrease the movement speed buff of this ability and decrease the air movement speed buff of this ability. Not only that, but the airstrike will decrease the landing rate of this ability is what's happening.
That's actually the amount of area she can choose to land after ultimate is
she
coming
lands.
closer.
Gotcha.
So really, this goddess is a perpetual pro meta.
What are they
because of her safety.
doing to Nemesis?
And what we want to do is maintain that passive. That's her cool thing. But she has safety all over her kit. So what you're seeing here is we're not decreasing her ability really to lane or deal damage or anything like that or hard carry when she gets online, but we are nerfing her in 3 different places towards her mobility, her escapability, which is really just causes some frustration when playing against her. So she'll always be, we think Jingwei will pretty much always be a viable pick
Nah, I was letting them buff.
because of that passive.
The big buff, I'm calling it. I want to look. Come on, Hindu, I want to
Oh yeah,
look.
with some crit buffs we got in the items, true.
It's like
Yeah,
having your
this is- on
presents
top
in
of
front of
that,
you
it's
and
next on
wanting
the
to
list.
shake
She's gonna
them.
get a bit of a buff here. Swift Vengeance. We're going to increase the physical power scaling of this from 30 to 35%. That's it for Nemesis. Just a bit of a love there. Help out against some of the tankier targets if they're
I mean,
available.
key thing to say in Nemesis is that she has some abilities that are really hard to buff because they're unmissable,
Right.
like her ultimate and slice and dice. So this one actually has some interesting trade-off. It's kind of risky to use it for damage, so it's a good place to buff her.
Next on the list is Nike. Now, Nike did get a bit of a rework change earlier on last year. I was going to say this year, but I'm like, we're in 2020 now. I can't say this year.
Yeah.
Nike got a bit of a
Speaking
change.
end of season 6, it's like
Yeah, and now we're moving on to some change towards Nike to make it a bit more viable, increasing the base health of the character a little bit, or the HP 5, I should say. But we're also going to increase the Ren damage and increase the refire damage from barrier formation, just to bring those up a little bit and help out.
The big thing there is that when we did the rework and we brought plan of action to barrier formation, the big thing that Nike lost was actually on the third strike, using plan of action, she would gain extra HP 5, she would gain extra damage on each one of her Ren swings, and we didn't really give that back to her in any way, even though she is now able to use all 3 swings. So now it's kind of bringing that back a little bit. She's going to get some base HP 5 to make up for the lost HP 5 in plan of action, and some base damage on Ren to make up for the lost bonus damage from.
Well, really, this was a long time coming
pieces.
because we adjusted Nike in order to nerf her passive, because that was just attributing a ton of her win rate. And we did that rework so we could buff her. The problem was old Nike couldn't be buffed because her win rate was already through the roof. Now that she's actually behaving the rules of a normal god in Smite, and her win rate's not 60% even when everyone thinks she's terrible, we can actually buff her. So this is the first big buff she's gotten since the rework. And I would say if she doesn't respond well to these buffs, we'll be very open to continuing to buff her.
That's good.
Because now we know that her win rate is actually in control and not something absurdly high all the time.
That you just can't bounce
It's a
back.
really important thing, and I know that Nike players, this was a little bit of a difficult transitions for some of them because they lost this like huge aura win bot that we had in Smite, but we're trying to make her feel more impactful, and maybe that wasn't achieved right at the rework because we were being a little too safe, but we are now open to buffing her.
Still
We're going
pissed
to
that the
be buffing
Nemesis
her now
buff
and
was
possibly again in the future.
5%
So keep an eye and test
scaling
around the PTS,
on the
see how she
dash.
feels. After that, we move on to Rama. Rama's getting some nice quality of life stuff here. Not just quality of life, but technical buffs.
Buffs, oh yeah.
Base movement speed is going to be increased on Rama slightly, 365 to 370. And not only that, Astral Quiver. Rama now starts the match and respawns from death with a full quiver of arrows. That's a really big buff.
Especially in non-conquest
Nobody
modes, yeah.
realizes it's so
Just
useful.
came
that-
from the item shop. You should have a full stock of arrows. You know?
Yeah, right?
Every time. And then Astral Barrage, decreased mana cost of the Astral Barrage as well, just to bring that down a little bit and make it a little bit more useful. So good little bits of changes there from Rama.
Yes, the only thing I want to say in addition
Fuck
to
you,
Rama
Mama.
is we know that the community has
Fuck you.
shared a lot of concerns with his passive.
They've got a passive.
He surely does have a passive. I disagree with the community, but I understand their feedback.
What are they
that
doing to
might not feel
Deathbane,
impactful enough.
bro?
We feel that his passive is pretty interesting. It affects almost his whole kit. Every ability is affected by this passive.
Yeah, rollout as well.
Pretty much
So-
everything, not the ulti.
We wanted to give him some key targeted changes to buff his basic attack, hunter feel and direction. See how this goes, but he is still being considered for a new passive. We'll see how that goes. We are open to that idea, but he does have a passive. It's just maybe not as exciting as it could be. So we'll keep that in mind, but we want to see how these changes go first.
That's it for Robert. Moving on to, there's 3 more gods on this list for you. Circuit, the next one. So he's going to be taking a bit of a nerf here. Deathbane, we're going to be decreasing the amount of damage Deathbane does. Overall, from I guess 60 to 140, he's now going to be 50 to 130. And on top of that, last breath, decrease the damage and decrease the damage.
They
by
added
adding a
scaling.
physical power scaling components.
No more take circuit.
That's
So does true
scaling
damage.
now.
Still deals true damage.
So it's got true damage and it can scale.
Sure, but if you aren't building actual damage circuit, you will be dealing less damage. You have to build.
But if you build an actual damage circuit,
You have to build full.
you have
This
to
is
build
full
somewhere
build.
around like 300 to 350. To
Yeah,
start
you have to have
dealing a
so
little
much
bit.
power on
Balance it right to
circuit.
around that point. You have to
What
build
the
a full
fuck?
power
That's where my
assassin
concern
build.
would go straight away of like true damage and scaling.
So this ability is nerfed in every sense of the game, except for pretty much late game full power,
which is when
full
Circuit's the
assassin
weakest.
circuit.
Okay.
So pick 2 big circuit nerfs.
Yeah.
Fuck.
She can still go tanky. She can
not
still
my
be a nuisance,
circuit,
she's just not
man.
going to do the damage alongside it.
Who
That's the
hurt you
reason there.
guys?
Correct.
You
Next
didn't even
up,
buff
Sun
Nemesis.
Wukong and a buff for Sun Wukong. Master's Will. This ability now applies an attack speed slow along with the movement speed slow. Ooh, that's pretty good.
What?
Because once upon a time, they used to have a knock-up.
Yeah,
Oh,
we couldn't give him
what?
back the knockup.
No.
We
The
damage
thought that was
increase.
just too much.
But an attack speed slow can help
Nerving
out there.
Thor?
It needs some love.
Not only that, they're also going to be increasing the damage on somersault cloud.
Who hurt you,
so as
Ajax?
jump off the cloud, it should be a
Who
little
hurt
bit more
you?
increased damage on there. And last but not least, on the god changes for now, Thor, Anvil of Dawn, increase the cooldown.
Oh, it's
levels,
just
I believe,
increased
to make
cooldown.
sure it's
Okay.
A little bit.
That's
yeah,
not
it's
a
going
real
from 90 to
nerf.
scaling.
End the or start the
We
season
didn't
off
even use
with a nice
Thor. We
Thor
can't hit
nerf.
it
I mean, to be
anyway.
clear on that as well, like there's not a whole
fucking
slew
idiot.
of god changes, but you change it you change the
Ajax.
items here.
You
You'll see how they play out, I
bamboozler.
guess, and make adjustments after that, right?
You
Yes, of course. And we most
bamboozler,
specifically
bro.
targeted those gods that are still top of the meta, have been for a while. So
Trolling.
Achilles, Isis, Thor, nerfs, and we got a lot of gods that are getting buffs that really need it and haven't really been seen so
At the
much
end of the
lately.
patch notes? Yep. Wow.
Izanami, Cucullin,
Artemis.
Artemis, even more. So a lot of just looking at the very top end and bottom end.
Of course, the reworks.
Ooh, that was a big one, huh?
Okay, so that's most of the patch, boys and girls. Thank you for joining me. It's not done just yet. We've still got a few more things to do. And first of all, I'm going to head over to John Finch, or throw it over to John Finch, to break down some community stuff that's going on.
Wait, what else? What else, Gins?
Are we so sure about that? Can we hear a little bit more from Handyman? Has he talked enough over these last couple of
I
times?
don't know, man. I think that was a full patch.
Yo,
I'm
Emoji
about
got
ready to
no
go and
nerfs.
Get tested on PTS.
Yeah, I agree with you. Anything else?
Oh my God. I'm telling you, Emoji's skill cap is too high. People suck at Emoji.
I know this has been a big deal. It's been all over Twitter and all this stuff. The Olympian voting is finally about to kick off. It's actually going to be open right now, right?
Yeah, Olympians voting is live. If you head over to smitegame.com/Olympians, you can put in your vote for your delegates for 2020 across all platforms that Smite are on: PC, Xbox One, PS4, Nintendo Switch. We've got a ton of awesome delegates up for voting for each platform. Be sure to go to the website, log in, get in your vote by next Wednesday, January 15th, and we'll get started.
And this really is a big deal. These guys do get to talk to the devs on a pretty regular basis. They're like your voice in the community.
Most definitely.
Directly into that room.
Yeah, we'll actually have a long blog post coming out later on this week or early next week to kind of go over everything that the Olympians impacted this season. And when I tell you that it's a lot, it is so much. They really do help us out in so much and touch almost every aspect of the game along with us.
That's right. You're going to have up until the 15th in order to do that voting. That doesn't mean that you should wait. Make sure that you're voting now.
Right,
or you
yeah.
might end up with someone that you don't want. But you have all the way until the 15th for that Olympian voting. Now, I know, Isaiah, that wouldn't be the only thing you'd bring
Wanna
for
see the
the
skins,
community.
bro.
Community.
Come on.
Looks like there's also that Dev Chest Showdown. That was something that you all did a little while ago.
Yeah.
We were the winner of that.
Yeah, so if you guys
won?
remember, we did the Dev
Isaiah,
Chest
did you win?
Showdown late in December. If you guys don't remember, we did a whole draft show where a bunch of Titanforge devs got together to choose some of their favorite skins to go in a chest, and the chest that did the best, the winner, we get to choose a charity to donate to and also get a cosmetic bundle.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Do you have any idea which dev might have won that, or anything that you can maybe tell me about? Who that
Yeah, I
was?
think it was me.
Yeah, I won.
Yeah.
Let's go!
Exactly. No surprises.
So yeah, as you can see on your screen, we're super excited that we'll be donating to each and every charity that's listed on your screen. Like I said earlier, each dev got to choose a charity to donate to. Every single charity will get a contribution made to them. But I'm super excited for $25,000 going to Game Changer.
Wow, that's awesome, and that's being worked on right now, so that'll be available a little bit later on,
Yes.
if I understand correctly.
Yeah, keep your eye out for that Isaiah bundle. I'm thinking an announcer pack and something else. We'll see.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Hopefully, we'll be able to get one of those. And the last thing it looked like you wanted me to note on here was that there's going to be some changes to the way that we're releasing content here in
Yeah,
Season 7.
so all through Season 6, if you guys remember, we patched once per month, and then every single week there was new content for you guys. We're kind of switching things up to make things a little bit easier for our dev team. So the way it's going to work, we're still going to patch once per month, but instead of new content, skins, events, bundles, and stuff like that every week, it's going to be every 2 weeks for new skins and stuff to come out for you guys.
Okay, well, there's a lot of stuff to be looking forward to lately. The skin stuff has been top notch. We haven't even shown you all what we have in store.
There
for you
are
coming
some
up later.
crazy skins coming up.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff coming up. So even though it might be not quite as frequent, don't expect the quality to change at all. It's still going to be excellent, if not better. So there's a ton of stuff to look forward to. Isaiah, I think we just about covered everything. Anything else you wanted to hit on here for me, Matt?
No, that's it.
All right.
Make
Well,
sure to get on PTS after the show.
That's exactly right. PTS is going to be going up. Make sure you check out those dev notes as well. We couldn't go through everything in detail because it's so much, so make sure you read through it. But all that's going to be coming up a little bit later. Don't worry, I'm going to get it back over to Hindu so we can start going through some of those skins.
Thanks so much, Finch. It looks like you and Isaiah had a barrel of laughs. Yeah,
Never
joining me
again.
on the set
Ever
now
again.
to go over the final part of the show this week is the skin section. It's going to be Tina and Tyler, the double T's. How are you guys doing today?
Good. New year, new season, new us.
No, my sub
New
count
skin.
wasn't updated.
Right.
We're almost at
New skin.
5,500
Let's
subs.
start off then
Holy
with
fuck.
Lord Bifrost Heimdall is going to be available. Early access first skin, so easy access first skin, I should say, in the battle pass for you guys to get hold of here. And oh my, look at him.
Yeah, he's a looker for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely, very fantasy-esque.
It's going to like,
Still
sort of
throws
I like
his
that. What the
fiery
fuck?
Hammer.
Okay.
Axe. Not hammer, axe.
Beautiful swaying robes,
Wish the colors weren't red and orange like always, but whatever.
This one either, right?
That's
No,
true.
no
Heimdall
helmet.
is like that.
We get
Now
to-
he's more like King Arthur's court sort of
yeah.
feel to it.
Yeah.
We get to show off his beautiful cheekbones and those gorgeous locks, the long hair. So
Yeah, you guys at home should be able to hear these abilities going off, but we in the studio currently can't.
No.
But that's not important as long as you guys can hear it. That's the main thing. And then obviously the abilities going off there, and then we can just see how it affects around it with the whips
yeah, these are cool effects. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
and the portals
His
as well.
teleport,
to
yeah.
jump through. Nice clear line, and of course the
They should
background
add like some
animation
background
as
music
well.
for
it.
skin stuff.
Did we see any?
And his
anybody
horn. If you didn't notice, his horn is in the back. Did you notice that?
No. I'll have to wait. till
Yeah,
you
that's the one thing I do
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the horn on the backpack.
Yeah.
It looks like it's in his armor, but you can actually see when he turns, there's actually a huge horn on his back.
Yeah, it's the element.
I like
Yeah.
that he keeps some of the the runic kind of theming that Heimdall has, but it stays within this kind of color range and stuff. It's a really nice touch. Kind of ties.
They
them
sound
together with
bored?
the
Nah, I think they are
Back in comes again. Now, we
I
should
think
have a
the
look-
one
have a
dude
chance
is
to listen
new,
into the voice pack as
being
well,
on the talking.
just to see what he sounds like.
Let's show them just how outclassed they are. Keep on coming. I have plenty of axes left.
And that's it from the voice pack. We see a couple of lines there. Next up, we're going to be whipping through these today, guys. Charm Caster, the Morrigan,
many.
is going to be available.
Oh, I really love this
What is it
one.
about?
Oh,
this skin?
shit.
Ooh, she's
Oh,
a-
yeah,
All right, this is gotta be the best Morgan skin, right?
Yeah.
Witch.
She's like a source. I would say witch actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Wizard,
sure.
witch, you
Wizard,
know.
witch.
Same thing.
Yeah,
For the most
and
part.
we haven't had a skin for a while for her, so we're hoping
Oh, fuck yeah, they gave her a dope hat.
y'all like this
All you
one.
see is her
Yeah,
hat and her
her
hair,
hat
but
is
dope.
Sister, now,
Massive.
That's what it is.
Yes.
That's what it
Merlin's
is.
sister
Yeah.
without the beard.
Oh yeah, I like the colors, the white and the blue.
Very long
the
hair.
trio, yeah. Oh yeah, okay.
I like
yeah,
this.
The big lock, the
Yeah,
big
it's
braid down the
huge.
back.
I'm
That's
supposed to have a
so
package
cool.
coming that to sign for, and I don't know where it is.
As well this time, because normally with Morrigan you get that many dark effects originally, which all seem to be quite low.
Yeah, this is definitely kind of like a more happy take
Oh,
on
she's very
Morgans
happy.
than we normally do, but it's a
She's
cool
like a
version.
clumsy witch almost.
What the fuck? Tell me the stream didn't crash. That's not me. Are there rips? F's in the chat? No? What the fuck? Just got bamboozled, bro.
Very strong.
And that's it for the charm cast. So that's going to be available as well. Next
good.
up,
We're
Strix
safe. Chill.
Beast Fenrir.
Oh,
And it's also-
Mr.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm so excited about
Oh,
this
man,
one.
Owlman.
Yeah,
Owlman
looks cool. I
Fenrir,
love the
boys. He
cover.
looks weird. I don't know if I'm
We've been
gonna
doing
like this
some
skin.
really cool creatures this year, and this was one that
Okay, never mind.
our
I like
artist,
this
Corey
skin.
put
What the
together, and
fuck?
it's amazing. The fur,
This
like the
skin is
detail,
great.
this
What the
really
fuck
came
is
together.
this? I don't know what I'm
So
looking at.
supposedly this concept has come up for a few years. That people have been mentioned about doing something like this
like
with the
this.
Fenrir, and now they're finally
What
going
the
to be
fuck?
bringing it into the game. And I did hear it's got an interesting alternate animation or a unique alternate animation.
What?
What?
Wait, what?
Can I
Yeah.
show that again?
Can we see that from the front?
Yes, we can, because Pompon's a god.
Yeah, he is. I don't know what
Something.
happened.
Yeah.
Is he
It looks like I picked him up and carried him around in the
Like-
mouth. Is
like
I think
this?
What happened.
Yeah. There was a lot of interesting stuff that went into the skin. Whoa.
What is happening?
Yeah. So
What?
the whole top half of
what the
Fenrir
hell?
for the skin
Bro, that
is
looks-
quite
that's
a
so
bit
much better for
larger.
targeting.
So we had to make quite a few adjustments to animations.
It's
and
so
the
much
rig
better for
this guy, just
targeting,
to get
bro.
That, like
for your
hulking
teammates
owl
trying to kill
feel,
him.
You know?
And you can definitely feel it's Hulk in the beast mode.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, he's like, he's like grabbing him, but he's like floating in the, like
Bro,
he's
this
doing
is
some
sick.
magic shit.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like,
Best
like,
description.
Look. See, he's like magic hands, and he's floating in the air while he's doing some magic shit.
That's how I would describe it.
Puppeteering him almost.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I
That's what it
agree.
is.
And there's a little look at how he'll look running away with it. Hey, I've got a toy for you. There's a little
Yeah.
reveal there. Let's have a little listen to this voice pack and then move along.
Who dares trespass on my lands? Not even worth eating.
And then on top of that, we're going to move on swiftly to the next one, which is Primal Steel Ares. How many of these are there? Every week. Oh my god, there's pages.
This one is the recolor that goes into the battle pass.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
cool.
just a
Free track.
recolor.
So this is going to be the free track of the battle pass for you all to take a look at. Of
Oh,
this.
these are the
Only
recolors that
card
are
out, we can show
limited
you
to the
that in a
battle pass,
moment,
right?
but you'll be able to see these in game eventually.
Battle
So
pack,
that's Primal
whatever they're
Steel
calling it.
Ares. Next on the list is going to be other battle pass stuff. We've got Fluff's Ward and Fluff's Recall. What's Fluff?
It's floof.
Floof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Floofs.
Yeah, we don't have that quite an engine to show yet, but it's this like really cute looking
It's
floofy
super
creature.
chonky.
Real
Okay.
chunky.
And it's got like cute wings and horns. And he has like, he's like, you know when cats like really want to love you and they make those big eyes like Puss in Boots? He has those eyes, but he'll fuck you up.
So,
Yeah, that's right.
So one skin and a recall mission. Do you just try and get on here and say as many vulgar words
Why
as
can
possible? Is that
she
your
say
goal?
fuck you up, but I
I
can't
want
say
to do
fuck
that
you
one
up?
day. I've never swore once.
Oh my
in
God,
my
I'm so
life.
proud of you.
In my life.
In your life.
In
Yeah.
your life.
Proud. Next up.
That needs to be on the Guinness
We're
World
going to move
Record.
on to Eternal Torment or Zeus. This is one that's part of the 2020 season battle pass for you all. Oh,
I never saw
This is really
Okay.
cool. This is so
Version
cool.
10 mod,
Relax,
right? Like the
Zeus.
metal version of like, oh, it's really cool. Like sort of steampunk sort of into it.
Yo, I'm pumped to see
Wait,
this
which
in
character is
engine.
this?
This is Zeus.
Yep.
No.
Yeah, look at
Eternal
this.
Zeus.
Oh
Is
yeah.
So cool. He's got the.
I
these,
have
like,
seen this one. I
I
just haven't seen the
was
card
not here
art.
to get all excited about it. What a
Bruh.
shame. I
He's
love
got,
the
like-
chain lightning bounces.
What's with his tentacle back?
Yeah, he's got these like ethereal weapons
say
that
tentacles?
they're like
Those little,
forged
like,
weapons
tentacles?
that he's
They
got
move.
attached, and
They
yeah, they
move?
rotate as he casts.
Oh yeah.
He's
I like
throwing
the
different
power of
weapons.
Rune damage or something, and it throws
Yeah.
out the bolt through them, right? as
Oh
they
man,
twist
there's
around.
a ton of really gorgeous detail and runes
Look at
and
this
stuff all
man.
over this armor.
Look at this old.
What is that like a forge
Oh,
of
I
heaven?
hadn't seen that yet. That
Huge
is so
portal
cool.
opens up by the looks of it and just drops fire
Look
in
at
hell.
this
Fiery hell.
Let's have a listen to this voice pack before we move along to the next one.
Really cool.
Follow me to salvation. The road is filled with anguish, but it will be worth it. I can hear them screaming, even beyond the grave.
Okay.
Love it. Evil,
Okay.
tormenting Zeus voice pack there. Next up on the list, Enchanted Boyfriend Cucullin. Enchanted Boyfriend?
Listen, this is the one that the panel at HRX.
Oh,
This is the community skin, yeah.
Yes, the community skin. They helped write it with me.
Is that a giant frog? That's amazing.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
he turns into a giant frog man.
That's so cool. So he goes from being cool looking, sweet dude to a frog, and then you kiss him and he goes back.
Well, I don't know
No?
who kisses him. I mean, you can kiss him.
Yeah,
but
feel free to kiss him, Hindu man.
What, in this
So
version? So he
slimy.
becomes a frog? Or?
Would you kiss a frog?
If it
They're
became a
slimy.
handsome
Altered
prince.
or fucking
Because princes have got money.
I mean,
true.
if he turns into
The Nigerian
Henry
princes that
Cavill.
contact me all the time tell me they've got lots of money. So.
This is indeed pretty nice looking.
Yeah, it
prince,
is.
too. Very
It is.
swole, you know, very handsome.
So swole. He even has
What
Oh,
the
there's the
fuck?
frog.
Let's
Oh,
go,
yeah.
frog boy.
Poisonous, that's for sure. It's like one of those
so
poisonous toad types.
poisonous.
I
Real
love that.
slimy.
That
He
looks
looks
really
so
cool.
slimy.
Yeah, and he's
Very
got like
nice.
the heart-shaped spots and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Oh.
was a really cool community skin. Yeah, that was.
This
a
was
lot of fun
definitely
to
from
work
one of the
with.
selections of the Valentine's Day.
Cool idea, I like
community
it.
skin
Yeah.
program.
I don't think the
So
skin's
let's
crazy
listen
good,
to the
but I like
voice
the
pack
idea.
then, see what it sounds like.
Now let's find me a princess.
Very heroic.
If only finding love was this easy.
It's very Disney.
And that's it from that one.
I
We'll
love
move
that,
on to the
yeah.
next one. We're
There's
speeding
also
through today, boys.
the frog voice.
Necromancer Persephone is next on the list.
Yes.
I mean, she was already technically a necromancer anyway, right? Like spawning evil plants. and
Oh,
things.
Yes,
the
but now
emphasis
it's like
on the romance
ex-husbands
and
and
necromance.
lovers
Oh,
and
shit.
stuff.
I love the bouquet in her hand too. Maybe she's going somewhere where she's going to need that, but look at the card.
This
art.
is also a community.
That's right.
Oh, was
that's
it?
right. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And I asked fans on Twitter to help write this one as well. So
I'll give you a quick shout out as well for the Cucullin skin. It was concepts by Zelgot, and for this one, concept by Juniper Garcia.
Yes.
Is where this came from.
is
I've got
such
the names down here. I've got
Yep,
some
yep, yep.
now.
I love the tuxedoed skeletons that she sends out to her groomsmen.
those roses? Oh, they're so evil roses.
And the groomsmen, yeah, I just saw the groomsmen at the first minute. They're really cool.
Yeah.
I love the effect of the back that she jumps backwards as well.
Yes.
And pollinates everywhere.
Persephone.
green
It's a good
vibe.
skin though. It's simple,
like that.
clean.
Yeah.
Lovely. And of
Nothing
course,
crazy,
the
but
evil
more
rose
clean.
bush of death as well. Now
I'm waiting for
Yeah.
them to
Oh,
make
he's
something
evil man!
crazy.
See that?
Yeah. That's like how some evil movies. That someone's gonna
Yeah.
steal that idea. Let's have a little listen to the voice pack that comes along with this one then.
Do you hear the bells ringing? Till death do us part. Whoever came up with this line clearly wasn't a necromancer.
Well, whoever came up with that line clearly didn't know that her passive keeps her alive a little bit longer. Moving on to the next one. Unbreakable and her next on the list. Is he unbreakable? This is a season 6 ranked. Oh my god, it looks badass.
Yes, it's
Season
so
6
badass.
ranked reward awarded to players who won players that won 75 ranked games in season 6. So you'll get this if you played 75 ranked games in season 6. Unbreakable and her.
Did I win? Did I play
cool. It's
76
really
ranked
cool.
games?
Yeah, it's like this statue
Over the last year?
kind of take on him, and he's got this great like stone trim and everything worked into the model. It's really pretty.
Now, here's a bit of work still going into the voice pack on this one, just so you know, so we won't be able to show you the audio pack from this.
I
at the
had to have
moment.
won
But this is just a
75
little
games.
look at the abilities and what's
I had to have.
involved in it here.
If not, I'm playing
Beautiful
ranked.
looking skin.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And on top of that, that's the and her one. We'll switch it over then to the next one on the list after we've looked through the Impaler stuff. But I do love the armor on that.
I don't
And
like
is
this
available
honor
for
skin
anyone
as much
who's
as I like
ranked.
the other ones.
We're now
No,
moving
is there
on,
any way to
though,
look up how many wins you have in ranked?
Alexandrite Isis.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm still getting over how cool this whole model rework.
is? Yeah, rework is.
It's just gorgeous, and this is a really cool color.
You can see it in game. Okay, I'll check after this. I'm
Now,
pretty
this
sure
is
I
a
have
season
it.
6 commendation reward, I believe, awarded to players that did not receive an account level ban or suspension during season 6.
Y'all did good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you've not been banned before,
What a
if you
great
check,
reward.
what you need to do, right, is you need to make people on your friends list play this character, right? Play it in game to prove that they're not bad people.
Yeah.
But if they're bad people, you
That's
don't have
right.
a skin.
I
just
didn't
sell
get
them.
banned,
That's
boys.
right.
Let's
Yes.
go.
Just sell them all.
Kick them from your party. I mean, that's
Now,
it.
we don't get to show this you in the game right now, unfortunately, but that's just the card out for this. So we'll have a little look at that. You'll be able to check that out in the PTS once that's live.
Nice.
Next up is going to be Merciless Monarch Oleron. is next here.
Badass.
Oh my god, that's his skull head looks amazing.
He's really cool.
Oh yeah, okay. So there's a lot of really cool stained glass
This is
work
Oleron skin?
in this concept.
And his halo thing has eyes on it, which I didn't notice before, and someone like called it out. I was like, oh, that's really creepy, actually.
Yeah.
Let's
Oh
kind of think
man.
about some of the card art. So
Look
like,
at
I just wanted them all everywhere.
Wait,
like, on
the
the
Halo
walls,
thing
on
has
the
eyes on
desktop,
it? What?
phone screen
Yeah.
space. We can't have them all. Here's a little look at the
Absolutely.
skin now.
Oh, the effects there are gorgeous too. Really, really cool.
He's still got the same sort of back piece that we've seen out of Oleron before.
Yeah.
But he's definitely got more of an evil sort of feel of it.
Yeah.
Rather than, you know, the feel that we get from Oleron's normal skins.
Yeah, and again, it has like a lot of that stained glass stuff worked into the tabards, kind of flowing from his back and on his shoulders.
Oh
and,
shit!
Oh man, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Just turn the whole place into a hellscape. That's so
Really,
cool.
really clean. Let's have a little listen into the voice pack
Like
as well
that.
for this one then.
Welcome to the accursed battlefield. Today I am here to take the souls of the fallen and introduce them to the Lord of the Damned.
Whoa.
Be like, come here. I will heal you.
I am on fire!
Awesome voice, awesome skin there for the Oleron
Yeah.
A
one.
lot of great brooding voice packs.
Yes,
this
very
patch,
brooding.
for
Next
sure.
up, we've got three
Very
more to go
edgy.
for you. Drunk
I love
God
this one.
Bacchus.
Oh my god, I love this one
Isn't
so
he
much.
drunk anyway? Wait, is he a robot
He's a
now?
robot.
Yeah.
They made him a baby.
Drunk yard.
And he's holding a urinal with a. I didn't know what this term was. Urinal cakes.
Yeah, cakes.
Yeah, you don't eat
we
them,
We
but
eat them in the
yes.
bathroom.
I
when we're
know,
hungry.
but cake is always something yummy.
Wait, what
and
the
why-
fuck? He
why
looks so
would-
How do you know
small.
it's not yummy if you've not tried it?
Yeah.
You
They
tried
made
first,
Bacchus less thick.
Yeah, no, you didn't, you weirdo!
Not straight out of it.
Bacchus
You're
isn't
a
thick
robot.
anymore.
Get out of here.
Come on, I will admit it. Once we looked at this skin, I love this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Quite a
effect's
bit of
cool
work
on
went
that.
into like putting this
But he ain't thick.
robot form onto Bacchus's
He's just
ring.
drinking oil instead.
Yes,
Yeah.
drinking oil.
I like his license plate like butt.
He has a license plate butt?
Yeah, he's got like mud flap
What
license
does it say on
plates. Well, that's for
People to
Oh.
find out.
to
in
find
game.
out.
There might be
Yeah.
an Easter egg in
Now,
there.
I believe it's got a VXG on this one as well. It's
What?
got a VXG, a brand new
relax.
recall animation.
Do it,
and a brand new recall animation.
Oh yeah.
Chugging makes me wiser, lets me see things.
Well, there's a recall
Like
animation.
dead
Unfortunately, we're not going to
robots.
have the VXG available for you right now.
VXG
as
not in
Pompon
game
didn't
yet?
Buy it, scumbag Pompon. But check that out
Rip.
in game when you get on the PTS and see what you think of that. But here's a little
I like this
listen to
skin.
the voice lines real quick.
Definitely not as thick.
Chugging makes me wiser, lets me see things. Like dead robots. Why did the robot go shopping? It had hardware and software, but no underwear. It was
Ducky
naked.
sounds like Ducky. You in
Oh
here?
my god.
Where's Ducky?
I do like this
This
voice
is a
pack.
robot Ducky
Not gonna
voice
definitely
pack.
get along with it. Might maybe play Bacchus
He is, no, he is
I'm
so
crying.
wasted, dude.
Oh my god.
Two more to go.
That's
How
really
can a
good.
robot be wasted?
That's what
Two
he
more to
sounds
go.
like when he gets
Spell
drunk.
Slinger Sol is the next one on the list for you all. Spell Slinger Slow.
Oh, she's so cool too. I love her.
It reminds me a little bit of the Morrigan, like purpley sort of woman.
Wait, they say
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
soul
sort of
skin?
like a sort of rogue-esque character.
She's like so sexy. She's like this like sexy spell slinger. Go show.
And of course, she's human in this, and she's not.
She's
you know,
human.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of.
many skins of those. It's
What
the
is
second one, I
happening
believe.
right now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's not a cool animation for the recall.
She's so bad.
If you see her from the front, she looks really like she has abs. It's really so nice.
cut.
I love the idea.
I like the colors. There's a lot of white like clothing on a lot of these skins, right? It's like the third or fourth one with like
I'm
all
such
white
a
clothing.
sucker for purple.
I like
effects.
this though.
Like these are so pretty.
Purple's your favorite
They're mixing
color.
with white with good colors.
As well. The way it affects the sapphire.
Does she have a butt crack though? I don't know. You gotta check up under her jacket.
Have a little listen into the
that's so
voice pack.
cool.
Obviously, guys, all these are available on the PTS after this show.
I can show you wonders beyond your wildest dreams, or horrors from your darkest nightmares. Magic can't be controlled, just set loose.
And that's it for the soul one. We've got one more skin for
Is there any
you.
assassin
And
skins?
it's a chibi one.
It's a chibi one.
And these guys are excited for it. It's Freezy Chibi Yimby.
Yes.
There he
Ymir
is.
just got his 40th skin.
He's so
With Soul next to him.
Cooking this
It's like
up
a little
for a little
dumpling,
while.
is what he is.
Yeah, nice fire and ice. Yeah.
I actually really like the card art for how simple that is. It's great.
Look at my
There was a
packages
lot
here. 1
work
second, boys and
into,
girls.
his design, and I'm so happy with how he turned out. He's so cute. Yeah.
Tyler modeled him, right?
I did.
God, he's
modeled
beefy.
him. Shout out Anna over in Alacrity. She did some awesome concept work for this guy. Oh, and this is my first time seeing him with all the effects.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
That's super cute.
Yeah,
I like the face.
Very
Oh,
smug.
there's different faces.
Oh, there's different
face.
faces. Yeah, yeah.
What?
So,
That's really cool.
And they're all mad. That's great.
yeah, a lot of smug faces.
Yeah.
A lot of so definitely annoy your opponents with.
Ymir's got some of the best skins in the game. It's so hard to choose sometimes which one you want to go with.
I just really like Ymir. He's such a cool character.
It's just a little slower than freezing most of the time. Let's have a little listen to the final voice pack of the Season 7 patch.
Ymir is always here and will never leave.
What?
Puny God has no chance.
You did what? What? Why?
Ymir is always here and will never leave.
What is this voice
Puny
pack?
God has no chance.
Why you make it seem a little bit simple, man? Like he's like, I will kill them all. Ymir is here.
Top tier.
It kind of do. It's a different take. I mean, to be fair, we just did the Bacchus one as well, which is along the same lines.
I mean,
What the
I
fuck
really
was that
wanted-
voice pack?
I was like, they sent it to me like that, and
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I should keep his original voice with his chibiness or if I should like alter it. But then when they sent me that, I was like,
That's
that actually sounds really. I can't even do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
That came together.
Thank you guys for joining me for the skin section. I know the skin section was pretty brief this week. Where's my camera? There's my camera. It's been a long show. But that's all we've got time for this week on Season 7. The PTS. Now, I'm saying this, right? And I hope I'm right because I've been told I am.